the high-rise building. Inside a conference room, there sat a man across from a woman. Outside of them were the staff. The pink-haired female staff was curious about who the woman was inside. The black-haired female staff replied that it was Xiaohei's girlfriend and she came to break up with him. The pink-haired female staff couldn't believe that she's breaking up with him right at the company. She commented that the woman was pretty wild. Inside the conference room, the woman told Xiaohei that she can't go on living with a useless guy like him. Hei asked why. She was angry when she told him that his pathetic appearance disgusts her. It left him speechless. Then the woman stated that back then, she deigned to be with him simply because she saw his cultivation potential. Even though he didn't get into a decent cultivation university, he was at least a descendant of a declining cultivator family. But they had been together for quite some time, and yet his pitiful lineage was dormant. She blamed him for wasting 3 months of her beautiful youth and making her miss out on many immortal heirs. Hei felt small while she was telling him that. He replied that he emptied his savings to give her so many spirit stones and all kinds of spiritual energy jewels. She got angrier when he mentioned that. Then she claimed that the trash he gave her had weak spiritual energy, which was insignificant. She compared it to the earring given to her by young Master Lai, which was overflowing with spiritual energy. It could dispel evil, protect the body, and even enhance beauty. The pink-haired female staff outside crashed the computer mouse in her hands. It caught the attention of the ex-girlfriend. The pink-haired female staff yelled at her for going too far. The black-haired female staff tried to make her calm down. She reasoned that they haven't reached their team's monthly KPI yet, so there's no need to get involved in other people's business. Hei spoke, clarifying what he meant. The angry ex-girlfriend turned towards him. Then he told her to return everything he gave her. Rage tore through her as she sprang from her chair, her body quaking with fury. Then she cursed him to be a loser for his whole life and to die a horrible death. Then she bolted. While doing so, Hei added that she could just mail the items to him if it was inconvenient to bring. But she angrily replied that she would throw it in the river before giving them back to him. He asked which river because it would be a shame to throw them away. The pink-haired female staff finds him interesting. The black-haired female staff told her to stop staring and warned her that if she slacks off any longer, the manager would pop out of nowhere. And as if on cue, someone appeared behind her and asked what she was doing. It was the cultivation department manager, Zhang Jiqian. He asked her if she had finished the KPIs for that month. She hasn't answered yet. When Jiqian saw Hei sleeping, the pink-haired female staff explained that his girlfriend just left him, so he was a bit down, but he would be fine in a bit. Jiqian didn't say anything else later that day. Hei sat at the edge of the roof. He glanced behind him when someone asked him if he had eaten his lunch. It was Jiqian. He asked if he wasn't in a good mood. Then he offered him a drink to relax. Hei was puzzled with his action because this old man usually glares at him, and now, out of the blue, he's being nice. After finishing the can, Hei was already drunk. He stood and spread his arms while yelling that his ex-girlfriend ate his food, drank his drinks, spent all his money, and even cheated on him. He yelled at her to die. He felt good after that scream. He admitted that he didn't expect the manager, who usually seemed cold, to actually care so much about his subordinates. Then suddenly, he felt dizzy. He realized that the soda had something in it. He glanced at the can, and it reflected the manager's devilish grin. Then he fainted. A few hours later, his head felt so heavy, and when he opened his eyes, he was chained at the edge of a cliff. Someone saw that he's awake. It was Jiqian. Hei asked if there was some kind of mistake. Jiqian was about to tell him what he was looking for, but Hei cut him off by saying that he's not into S&M. That irked him, so he punched him. Seeing that Hei thinks it was funny, he urges him to look carefully below to have an idea of the situation he's in. He saw a pair of eyes looking at him in that dark pit. It moved. And when it came out, it revealed a dragon. Jiqian presented the sacrifice to this divine dragon lord. He told the dragon that even if that useless one hasn't awakened, the body still has the spiritual root of an ancient lineage, which makes him more delicious than those sheep and pigs that they used to bring. In exchange, the divine dragon gave him the promised condensation pill. Jiqian got excited on making his major breakthrough. He left to get back on his cultivation. The divine dragon asked Hei if he had any last words before he died. Hei glared at it and told the divine dragon that it had a bad breath. He suggested brushing its teeth before eating him. The divine dragon got angry with his insolence. He claimed that he was the Lord of the Clouds, master of the 9 heavens, bearer of thunder and rain, rider of the 4 seas. On top of that, it spent 3,000 years of silent cultivation in the abyss and 80,000 years roaming the 9 heavens. Eventually, it got embarrassed for losing its composure. It was displeased that it got angry over a mere mortal. It took hay. Normally, it would swallow the sacrifice in one bite, but it decided to give him a special treatment by chewing him bit by bit. Hay yelled that it can't. It replied that it was too late to beg. But Hay clarified that he has an athlete's foot, which would make the dragon's breath even worse. He added that it would make the dragon's breath stinky and the scent would linger. It would be like a morning breath with its ex-girlfriend's stinky socks. The dragon raised its voice to tell him to shut up, and then it chomped on him. Half of his body was eaten and he yelled that it hurts a bit, but his expression showed how much he endured. A mark on his hand appeared. It was chopped off while the dragon swallowed him. The forbidden art of the bloodline was activated. First was the light of life and death, where it inflicts a death mark on the enemy that kills him and on himself. The enemy will suffer the same pain and damage as him. As long as he doesn't die from the curse, his body would keep reviving. The next skill was dual annihilation. Once the art was used, the bodies under the life and death curse would perish together. Unless there was an intervention from top-level immortal magic, neither party has any chance of revival. The spell cannot be blocked or externally interrupted. Suddenly, Hay was called by a teacher and interrogated him on what nonsense he was talking about. When he opened his eyes, he was in a classroom. The teacher told him to recite the 7 arts of body refinement, and yet he talked about life and curses. The teacher wondered if he took too much body refinement medicine, causing him to hallucinate. His classmates laughed at him. Meanwhile, in the faculty room, the female teacher talked to Professor Yin about the transfer student he accepted in his class. She assumed that this student has an impressive talent, otherwise for someone like him with high admission standards to accept. He replied that the boy had other talents. In reality, he received a good sum. He thought that the boy wouldn't make it past the first monthly exam anyways, so it was best to take the debt. The whole class thinks Hay was useless. They continued to laugh at him. Hay was unbothered. In fact, he wondered what talent the heavens had given him. Hay was in the classroom, thinking deeply. After he was killed by the dragon, he woke up on his bed, and the spiritual root that had been dormant for 20 years suddenly awakened. The words of his ex-girlfriend echoed in his head about him being the last descendant of a declining cultivator family. Suddenly, someone stepped on his desk. This guy tried to intimidate him and lecture him about the rules of the class. He was told to hand him at least 1 bottle of body refinement pill, 1 bottle of Pei Yuan pills, and 1 dose of Guban potion once a week. Their classmates saw John Jabai educating a newbie again. To them, it was a show worth watching. He questioned why he would give him that and also why he was stepping on the desk. Jabai claimed that it was his territory, so he'll step on if he wants to, and besides, he usually jumps down from there, unlike those weaklings who only use the stairs. Before he leaves, he threatens him that if he doesn't deliver the goods by the end of the class that afternoon, he would tie him to the school's front light pole to publicly shame him. Hay saw his feet stepping out of the window. A thought crossed his mind. Our boy slapped this bully's leg, causing him to fall awkwardly, and he landed on his face. What a satisfying scene. Their classmates gawked at him from the window of their classroom. They couldn't believe he slammed face first on the ground. They weren't worried because he practiced a 100-fold refined steel technique, so they expected that he wouldn't die from a fall like that. Some of them felt bad, since if he died, they would rank up. He stayed on the ground for a few minutes, and when he got up, he told Hay not to leave because he would break his legs. The green-haired guy sitting in front of Hay told him he's screwed because Jabai was a well-known class bully, and he was never beaten. Also, his family was a powerful and influential academic cultivation clan in the city, and his body refinement technique has reached an insane level. He also shared that the last student who crossed him had his entire family broken and dead. He warned him that he can run but he can't hide. He also gave him a tip to avoid Guji Alley after class. It is where they usually wait to ambush people, but that path was unavoidable on Hay's way home. Later that dusk, Hay saw the sign of Guji Alley. Nearby, there were 3 men waiting. One of them asked their boss, Jabai, if it was really necessary for the 3 of them to take care of some trash transfer student. The other guy replied that the boss could crush that trash with just 1 hand, but it would be too lowly of him to do it personally, so they, the lackeys, would handle it. Jabai expected the little bastard was probably trembling with fear trying to figure out how to avoid the alley. But it doesn't matter, because he got people in every direction so he can't escape. The bald lackey gave him a thumbs up while complimenting him on planning things. Unexpectedly, Hay showed up, asking them who told them that he was going to hide. The bald guy turned around and saw Hay approaching them. They couldn't believe that he just walked into their trap. They assumed that since he can't escape anyway, he just decided to accept death obediently. Zhibai saw how this kid wasn't scared at all. He got curious about what he's planning. He started thinking that he could be the extremely rare type who hides their true strength and pretends to be weak to launch a surprise attack. Hay called them cowards for not even daring to corner someone at the school gate. Instead, they pick an alley far out just to ambush someone. He complained that it took a lot of effort to get there. He urged them to come at him. One of the lackeys got provoked. He kicked Hay, causing him to hit a wall and creating a wide dent to it. They didn't expect him to be so weak, especially when he showed up arrogantly. Zhibai confirmed that he was just a rookie, and he was just overthinking earlier. Hay fell on the ground with a bloodied face. The bully approached him and told him that it was a kick from the 5th level of body refinement, so Hay's internal organs had been injured and he wouldn't live long. Hay, despite his sorry state, replied that it didn't hurt at all. He couldn't even consider that a 5th refinement because it was soft and weak like some loser who had jerked off hundreds of times at night. The bully got triggered. He couldn't wait for him to stop breathing. He wanted to smash his head using his kicks. Blood had splattered. He was left confused. Zhibai and the bald guy were horrified to see his leg flew in front of them. Then, he fell on the ground, yelling loudly. His chopped leg continued to bleed, while Hay laughed at him for losing a leg. Unexpectedly, a woman appeared. She stood in front of Hay. Zhibai couldn't believe that she just showed up in a blink of an eye. Even when the woman's back was turned on them, the bald guy attacked. Zhibai yelled at him not to use lethal moves there because he would destroy the whole area. But he still did it and unleashed his attack, called Death by Purple Gold Club. It caused a huge explosion in the area. The idiot destroyed all the nearby residences. He expected his old man at home to blow up over the aftermath. Eventually, the smoke and dust subsided. The bald guy was left shocked. Even Zhibai's jaw dropped while his eyes widened. The club landed on the woman's head, but she was left unscathed. A few moments before this scene, on a floating island, under an old tree, there was the silver-haired woman and a white crane. They were playing Chinese checkers. The white crane asked this woman named Lord Divine Dragon on why she always appeared in human form. Divine Dragon didn't want to follow those broken rules of the immortal palace. She questioned why they would always appear in their original form. She stated that they would end up like the crane who had a human body and a bird's head. The crane was surprised. She asked if it was offended. The crane clarified that it was because she was bleeding. She thought it was a joke because the last time she bled was 100 years ago. She believed herself to be invincible, but to her surprise, blood gushed out. The crane panicked that it gushed harder. She immediately used a homeostasis spell. Then she left the crane. Before she headed down to the mortal realm, the crane reminded her to report to the immortal palace. She flew real fast. A mark appeared on her hand, and upon scanning using the divine sense, she learned that it was a death curse, and she can't dispel it even with her powers. She was aware that the life curse was tied to someone in the human world, and she must find that bastard. Back in the alley, a rectangular barrier was put up. Marks were drawn on the walls of it, and it covered the whole alley. Zhibai was impressed because she took a direct hit from a quasi-condensation realm attack without flinching. At the very moment of impact, she developed a defensive barrier, leaving the surrounding buildings completely unscathed. He could tell that the person's cultivation was far above him. Divine Dragon stated that she had not fought low-level cultivators in so long that she had forgotten how weak they all were. She also considered that Zhibai was weaker than when she first started. Zhibai yelled at his guy to quickly get away from her, but before the bald guy could do anything, his body was blown into pieces. Zhibai was horrified. His legs gave in, which made him fall on his butt. He asked how it happened when he didn't even see her attacking. He panicked when he saw her approaching him, especially that his legs already gave out. He knew he was doomed. Suddenly, Hay was being lifted in the air. She said that she was surprised to see someone she ate come back to life. With that statement, Hay confirmed that it was the dragon. She told him to hurry up and lift the curse from her, or else he would be a dead meat. He replied that he had no idea how to lift it. Because of his response, he was slammed repeatedly to the ground. She had done it with a powerful force that shattered the ground. She demanded him to lift it. Zhibai watched how scary she was, that when she snaps, she even targets her own allies. Suddenly, she coughed blood. It tainted the ground. She realized that the harder he beats him, the more hurt she gets, so it wasn't totally worth it. If it keeps up, they would fall into a boring loop. She decided to head back first to find a way to lift the curse, but Hay told her to stop. She noticed how he came back to life again. Internally, she complained how shameless the curse was. Hay brought up how she ate him like he was nothing. So, he wanted a bit of compensation. He was the first one to say that to her. She asked what he wanted. He replied that he wanted to become an immortal. She got annoyed at him. Then she asked what he would do if she refused. He threatened her that if she doesn't grant it, he'll soak himself in a pool of sulfuric acid and die over and over, and she'll bleed like crazy with him. She got furious that he dared to blackmail her. She thought of just freezing him and locking him away while she takes her time to find a way to break the curse. Anyways, she got all the time in the world. But he had countermeasures for that situation. He taunted her to try. It angered her. A shadow formed beneath her, and it released red flames. Because of that, she threw him the book while telling him that reaching immortality in one step was impossible. The book was a basic cultivation manual to help him train slowly. She commented that it would suit someone talentless like him. Though it can't guarantee him immortality, it can at least get him into a good university, and he'll never worry about food or clothes again. The cover of the book says, "Advance Payment of Skills." Just from that alone, he could tell it would be an amazing technique. He agreed that improving his cultivation was the only real path forward. In her head, she called him an idiot. Nothing in the world comes for free, so until he gets rid of him for good, he'll drain every bit of him. Coincidentally, he was thinking of the same thing. Meanwhile, Jabai was plastered on the wall in an attempt to hide his existence, but he saw her looking at her. He knew it was his end, but she stated that she can't be bothered to stomp on ants that aren't in the way, but he better forget everything that happened there. He saw her use her powers on him, so it made him scream that he doesn't want to die. Suddenly, when he opened his eyes, the body cultivator instructor was yelling at him to restrain himself in the exam room. He was bothered that he couldn't remember anything from yesterday. His brain was a mess. He didn't even know what to do that day. The instructor told them that it was the first monthly exam of the new semester. He hoped for them to do their best. The students at the bottom of the rankings were in danger because the school would consider advising them to leave. The first body cultivation proficiency test had begun, and for the sake of their futures, he told them to charge. Hay didn't expect that it would be the first week's monthly exam already when the instructors haven't taught a thing in class the past few days. The green-haired guy beside him told him that it was how senior year was. Everything worth teaching was covered in the first 2 years, and Hay should have been taking extra prep classes. He didn't know that. The green-haired guy elaborated that all the effort goes into extracurriculars. Senior year was about exams, rankings, and hyping themselves. He realized that Hay didn't sign up for any prep classes. He would be screwed on the exam. He told the fat student that his rank was about to change. The student asked why. Then the green-haired guy relayed the news that the idiot transfer student didn't even register for cram school. They laughed out loud. The green-haired guy saw Jabai and wondered how the vicious class bully had let go of Hay. Even Jabai wondered the same thing. His 2 henchmen were beaten to death and the other one bled out. He had this feeling that something terrifying had happened. The first test was penetration. A barrier spell has been casted in the field so they could test their destructive penetration. The instructor called Bai to demonstrate how it was done. The instructor had high hopes for him. Jabai threw the stick. His attack was destructive. It penetrated on several layers. The instructor was happy to announce that it had penetrated a 1-meter-thick 5-layer reinforced concrete wall. He was expecting that from the school's body-tempering prodigy. Jabai's level was almost on par with him. The girls cheered for him. He didn't mind them since they had no idea what he's worried about. The green-haired guy expressed that it was impressive. Hay asked if the result was good. The green-haired guy shared that Jabai was well known since he was the only person in their class to be directly recommended to Hezu Cultivation University based solely on body cultivation. He explained that the test reflects his explosive, destructive power. Whether using body tempering or shui cultivation techniques, in the end, the score was determined by how many layers he penetrates. Most people can only punch through 2 or 3 layers in their first month of senior year. The 5-layer result was by far the leading one. The instructor called Wu Fei next. It was Fatty earlier. He took a step and threw the ball. It reached the first layer, but it was stuck there. He badly wished for it to go through, and it did. He celebrated his passing of the test. Then, the instructor called the transfer student. Deep inside, he wasn't happy that the old principal admitted such trash to their class. He was ready to call out Hey. The green-haired guy expected him to be doomed. If he couldn't break through one layer, he'll be advised to leave. Since it was their last chat, he wished him luck. Hey concentrated his power and his eyes turned red. The instructor saw him going up empty-handed. He mocked him by announcing that they now had a prodigy in class who can create from nothing. Everyone laughed. Jabai seconded that with a hidden dragon like that, the teacher's senior position would be secured. It heightened everyone's laughter. But to his surprise, Hey created a ball. Then Hey got into position to throw it. He raised it and threw it. It went fast and easily broke through the walls. The instructor couldn't believe that he actually penetrated the reinforced walls. He got worried that it would even pierce through the school's barrier. But at the last wall, it vanished. He was relieved that it reached the end of its power. But even so, it had broken the record for their year's cohort, and it was his first time seeing that palm lightning. He could tell with the explosive force behind that lightning that Hay's grade in body tempering was high. To master both body and ki cultivation to that level, he called the kid a heavenly genius. The girls gathered around him while saying that he looked ordinary before, but now he turned handsome. One of them claimed that his talent rivals the previous geniuses. He showed no signs of it before, but now they could tell that he's related to some major sect. The green-haired guy knew he was doomed since he laughed loudly earlier. Later that day, he looked nervous. Hay asked what happened to him because he looked 50 years older. He expressed that he was blinded earlier, and told him that if he needed anything, he could just say the word. Hay said goodbye since he was in a hurry. He was gone in a flash. The green-haired guy was amazed how he rushed back to the train. He realized how outstanding people work harder than him. Hay ran as fast as he could. He was so annoyed. He had just confirmed that the stinking dragon had ill intentions. She slipped him a time bomb crappy manual. He was instructed to make up for the practice of the black nether palm lightning. If he didn't finish on time, penalties would apply, such as deduction on his cultivation and weakening of his bloodline, which would mean prohibitions. His timer ran at 11:05:56. Inside Hay's room. He rummaged through the shelves looking for a skill book. It was the one he bought online, but back then, he couldn't understand it, so he skipped it to the last few pages. He was dying to know the initial cultivation steps again. He couldn't order it again because the fastest it arrives would be the next day, which would be definitely late by then. Then he thought of just buying the ebook. He became too loud upon seeing how expensive it was. His neighbors downstairs complained about his yelling because they had to sleep early for the cultivation the next day. The first time he bought the book, he emptied his pockets, spending tens of thousands. To his surprise, the price had skyrocketed that much already. At this point, he only had 8 hours, 31 minutes, and 24 seconds. He was running out of time. And if he doesn't place the order at once, even a whole night might not be enough for training. But he already had a lot of expenses, like the 50,000 given to the old principal. Eventually, he still bought it at 200,000 yen, which brings his account balance to 3,372.29 yuan. Then, he went to the mountains where he practiced the basic breathing technique. With 3 hours, 44 minutes, and 3 seconds left, he practiced spiritual energy activation. The last 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 16 seconds was spent on move practice. He caused some explosions in the forest because of the holes he made through the trees and the rocks. He finished the cultivation process before the last 32 seconds were up. When he was done, he claimed that it was too easy. He didn't expect to feel dizzy and pass out. Meanwhile, at the floating island, specifically in the bathhouse, the steam covered the area. Divine Dragon was happily taking a shower when blood suddenly gushed out from her back and it spilled on the water. She complained about the immortal dew that she lost when she had just made it. She checked on him through the water and found out that he overexerted during cultivation process completion and died suddenly. She called him useless. She only placed a slight restriction during the completion process, and it was already enough to knock him out. She had no choice but to heal him. 1 week ago, during the first day of the senior year, Jibai ranked in top 10 for the class placement test. The results were posted on a bulletin board. He boasted that he made it to the top 10 of the elite class just through body tempering alone. It made him look down on the top students. Then a girl beside him shouted, which startled him. She saw that Fatty wasn't the last anymore. Hai's name was there on the bottom. They had never heard of him, so they knew he was a transfer student. Jibai was eager to show the newbie how tough it gets around there. At the present time, Jibai saw that Hay had jumped 10 ranks from the last individual test. Hay was now at rank 33, One of his lackeys called him since it was about time for the test to start. They were at the gym. A student stood there scared. A palm hit his face, causing him to bleed. It was such a powerful hit that he fell and broke his neck. The instructor called the medic and told him to hurry to the infirmary because the kid might still be saved by Dr. Song's miracle hands. Hay asked the green-haired guy what kind of test was that. The student explained that it tests their palm strength and resistance to impact. And compared to last time's penetration test, this one was Jabai's specialty. Especially his proud iron-tempered steel technique, which reportedly no one in their grade could break through. Jabai faced the strongest palm strength student for that year, Zhao Yikai. He was eager to prove that he was stronger. Yokai was determined to make him pay for his arrogance. He used forged steel palm. It was such a destructive attack, it covered them in dust. Then he stated that iron-tempered steel was just overrated. But he was surprised. The dust subsided, and he saw Jabai still standing. Jabai mocked his technique. Then he hit him. Yokai was down, so the instructor called someone to bring him to the infirmary. Then he called the student named Wu. But Jabai suggested calling Hay first. Hay was surprised to hear about the open-source cultivation method and patented cultivation method. His classmate told him that cultivation methods fall into those two types. It was common sense, so it made him wonder which school Hay attended for 10th to 11th grade. He replied that it was Municipal Number 3 High School. Now it's no wonder he's lacking in foundational knowledge. It was a regular, non-immortal cultivation high school. This green-haired student explained to him that open-source cultivation methods were publicly available and anyone can practice. Patented cultivation methods were registered with the Immortal Cultivation Patent Bureau, so only the patent holder or authorized persons may practice them. Unauthorized practitioners of such methods may face legal consequences or even be exterminated. Like those two earlier, forged steel palm was open source and 100 refined steel was patented. But ordinary cultivators can't easily break through patents. Patented methods have higher thresholds and difficulty. The instructor administered basic maintenance spells to patch up the ruined court. Then he called Hay to come down. Hay and Jabai stood face to face. Jabai could feel his heart racing every time he saw him. He couldn't understand why, especially when he only lost one individual test. But if he could beat him, he could prove himself. Hay suggested that they just hit each other at the same time. It irked him, so he yelled at him not to get too arrogant. Hay used forged steel palm. Jabai wasn't impressed that he's trying to clash open source methods with him. He used 100 refined steel. The instructor watched intently. Their palms landed on each other's face. But Jabai was blown away, and he crashed. When he hit the wall, the impact left a deep dent and a body-shaped hole in the earth. The crowd was struck speechless, frozen in shock. The instructor didn't expect that. Hay's opening move was the open-source forged steel palm, but the moment it hits Jabai, it was layered in 100 refined steel on top. Not to mention that the Zhang family's patented 100 refined steel has a high cultivation threshold and was difficult. It also made him wonder if Hay didn't fear the catastrophe from privately practicing a patented method. Hay suggested to the teacher to send Jabai to the infirmary because he seemed to be stuck on the wall and can't climb down on his own. He was confused when the teacher didn't answer. When he turned around, the teacher acted like a tame dog. Then this teacher asked him which master he trained with. He told him to come closer. Then he whispered that it was the Dragon Lord. Jabai woke up in the infirmary. He was angry at that bastard. Someone spoke beside him saying that the bastard looked familiar. It was Jixian. He took a closer look at Hay's picture and stated that he looked similar to someone he knew. Jabai asked if he knew him. Jixian hinted that he does. But internally, he reasoned to himself that there's no way Hay would have survived. It made him wonder if the Dragon Lord had shown mercy. He knew the next exam would be chemistry. He asked Jabai which topic they would focus on. Jabai responded that it would be poison making and toxin testing. With a devilish grin on his face, Jixian told him that they would have fun at a car junkyard. Jabai practiced the forged steel palm training to its completion. He informed the boss that all the scrapped cars had been crushed. After that, the boss praised him for the great job and transferred the payment to his account. That boss didn't buy a scrap car crasher to save money, so he had the opportunity to earn while cultivating. The system instructed him to complete his 100 refined steel training soon. He had done 20 strikes and yet to receive 0-20 hits. He started thinking who he could fight that night to receive the hits. Out of the blue, someone appeared and asked if he was Hay. He replied that he's not. He justified that the man was the wrong person because his name was Yinjian. At that moment, the teacher from the class earlier sneezed. He finds it strange to catch a cold when he was just making a slideshow. The man yelled at him to stop pretending because he knew him. The young master Zhang sent him to teach him a lesson. This person was Zhang Zhixuan with Spiritual Attraction Realm in Tier 9. He approached him and told him that he should have said so earlier. He denied it because he thought he was a debt collector. He was up for the challenge. Zhixuan finds him strange for not fearing him when his cultivation was higher than his. With spiritual perception, he's at most just entering the spiritual attraction realm, so it made him consider if he was hiding his true cultivation. Without second thought, he punched him and made him fly to the opposite side. He charged again while thinking that He was just acting earlier and it only took him a single punch. But when he was about to land on him, he was caught off guard. He stared at him and dared him to put more power into his attack. The forest erupted when they fought. He was hit again, followed by a kick. Even when he landed face down on the ground, he had a smile on his face, which made Zhixuan confused. He was getting beaten and his aura was getting weaker, but he still had that creepy expression on his face. Eventually, he decided to end the fight with an instant kill attack, third sequence. He received a powerful blow on his torso, and it threw him away, until he crashed on a boulder. He fell on his knees. Zhixuan commented how high schoolers these days are so weak, and yet they still pretend to be tough. He hasn't moved, and when he checked, he was being healed. He was surprised at the recovery speed. Even a top-tier physician at the spiritual attraction realm couldn't manage that. He hit him with the final strike. The impact sent a gust of wind around them. He had this creepy grin when he saw that he received a beating for 2020 already. It concluded the 100 refined steel training. He looked down and grabbed Zhixuan's leg, then unleashed the black underworld palm thunder and hit him with it on his torso. But Zhixuan blocked it with his palm and scoffed at that entry-level spell. He replied that he should hold on to it. He prepared his other hand for the next attack. Then he used forged steel palm, followed by 100 refined steel. Zhixuan took a direct hit, and the impact sent him flying. It was so powerful that he went through the trunk of a tree. Eventually, he found his balance and steadied himself, but he coughed blood. He could tell that most of the meridians in his body had been shattered. He couldn't believe that a mere high schooler at the entry level of the spiritual attraction realm could force him to channel energy to heal. He vowed to beat him to death once he recovered. But something caught his attention. The lightning ball was stuck to his hand. He panicked and tried to throw it away, but it won't come off. He couldn't do anything until it exploded. Nothing was left of him except for his shades. He picked it up and wore it. The system notified him that the enemy had been defeated, and he obtained a magical tool called Dynamic Monocle, where it enhances dynamic vision, making it easier to track fast-moving objects. He was happy with the unexpected reward. The next day, the rankings were posted. Jabai was bothered that He was ranking too fast. He was already in the 18th rank. In addition to that, the kid also took out the thugs he sent to him. A woman called out to He and asked him for his secret for ranking up fast. She offered to exchange it with Yuan nourishing pills. Little did they know some girls were eavesdropping. They called her Gao Fei, a bitch for her plan to trick him with a losing trade. Later on, the class started. It was the chemistry class under teacher Zhan Qingyan, and for that day, they were to demonstrate their poison-making and poison detection skills. In the future, when they enter dangerous careers, they would inevitably face tricks from coworkers, subordinates, bosses, and rivals. So if they don't want to suddenly drop dead on the job someday, she advised them to give their all on the exam. Each of them will be given several samples. Before the exam ends, they were to identify which one was poisonous. They were told to swallow the non-toxic ones, and their final grade would be based on both detection speed and accuracy. If they can even name the poison, they would get extra credit. Jabai had tampered with He's entire tray with the help of his second brother. He expected him not to even reach the dangerous career because he would die there. With so many strong-smelling items mixed together, he knew he wouldn't be able to identify the poison by scent. In the tray, there were hutunia dumplings, stinky tofu, durian, fermented bean juice. If he was thinking of identifying the poison by other means, he wouldn't be successful because the poison had been heavily disguised. He believed in the poison master and their family, and he was confident that not even the chemistry teacher would be able to detect it. The green-haired guy was relieved to be in the field where he had the advantage. He started sniffing, while Fatty dropped a chemical on the food. A girl used lightning to detect the poison. Teacher Qingyan watched her and was impressed that she was still excellent in poison detection. She walked to He when she saw that he was doing nothing when everyone else had started demonstrating their skills. Jibai overheard it, and he thought that there was nothing for Hei to do but sit there because he had no clue which to pick. And it wouldn't matter what he eats because he would die anyway. Hei reached out for the food, at the floating island. Divine Dragon was fishing. But she was also lost in thoughts. Ever since she became a god, things had gotten boring, and she had left with nothing to do but fish. While she was just lounging around, her eyes and nose started to bleed. 5 minutes ago, Hei ate all the food on his tray. Teacher Qingyan couldn't believe what he just did. She asked if he really knew what he was doing. He could die from that. She was relieved to have anticipated idiots like him and strictly controlled the dosage. She assured him that it wasn't lethal, but he should prepare for serious diarrhea. Jibai grinned because that was just wishful thinking. He poisoned every single food item, and it was enough to kill someone 5 times over. Hei turned pale and bled through the eyes, ears, nose, and mouth. Then, he dropped dead. Teacher Qingyan took his pulse and announced his death. One of the students got worried that the school would make it to the headlines. The other student responded that it won't happen because it's not like he's from a major sect or a top scholar. Students dying in the senior year was quite common. The rank 19 student was pleased because he would easily climb the ranks, while Teacher Qingyan was concerned about how it will affect her promotion evaluation. She was furious at whoever dared to tamper with her exam. She thought of the damned PE teacher because he had been competing with her for the title. While she suspected him, Hei had recovered. She jumped to her feet when she learned that he was alive. In her entire career, it was the first time she encountered that. She couldn't believe that he fooled her. Hei reported that all 5 items were poisoned, including enteric dispersing powder. Some letters appeared on his palm. Then he stated that the last one was the air-ending poison. Jibai couldn't believe it. He got nervous. He thought he was being thorough, even finding an expert at the condensation realm from their sect. He also had him investigated and found nothing. So it was a big puzzle on how a nameless nobody survived the poison of condensation realm experts. Later that day, in the lab, Teacher Qingyan inspected something on a petri dish. She wrapped her aura on the fluid. It was Hei's blood sample, and from her analysis, all his answers were correct. She could tell that the brain-dead PE teacher couldn't have concocted that. It led her to think that it was done by a real poison master in the condensation realm. She even needed half the night to analyze it, and it made her think that Hei was a freak. Meanwhile, in the new Immortal bookstore, Hei searched through the books as he never thought there would be such a communication method. Divine Dragon communicated with him through the palms and told him that it was his bloodline forbidden technique. She called him dumb for not even knowing how to use it. She linked their health bars to use it to contact each other during emergencies. Hei complained that encrypted communication like that hurts. He asked if there's another way for immortals to talk to mortals. It seemed like he thought gods had freedom. She pointed out that for humans, they were strategic nukes. Every move was under surveillance of the Immortal Palace. She already descended once on her own, so if she casually made contact with humans again, and the Immortal Palace found out, some immortals would come after her. Hei asked if she could reveal to him where the top-tier treasures were. All that she's allowed to share with him was already infused into the advanced payment skills, so he just has to follow the instructions. His hand started bleeding. Someone saw it. It was the female staff. She expected that high schoolers were under immense pressure these days, but she couldn't believe that one would self-harm in a bookstore, and she would be the one cleaning up the blood again. Hei apologized and promised to clean the blood later. Then he brought up some questions about a few books. She asked him what kind of books. He shared that he's in senior year, and he wants to aim for the condensation realm. He wanted suggestions for some of the good prep books. There's still almost a year until college entrance exams, so she was a bit surprised that he's already preparing for the condensation realm. He asked her if the condensation realm was hard. She doubted if he's really a senior since he lacks the basic knowledge. She explained that if he can break through to the condensation realm during the college entrance exam, he's basically guaranteed acceptance. If he reaches it at once, he could apply for direct recommendation. She commented how kids these days have high ambitions but no grounding. She gave him 3 best-selling books. If he could grasp them, it would be great. He chose the Condensation Realm Cultivation Guide. He gave it to the counter. It was not from the staff's recommendation, so she was unimpressed that he didn't listen. He immediately scanned through it. The staff saw how he just flips to the last page on that complex book. In her head, she judged his logic to be totally backwards, so he was hopeless. He read that breaking into the condensation realm requires full cultivation of either Qi or body to level 10 plus the help of a condensation pill. The process may cause spiritual energy to rampage in his body, leading to serious injuries. Hence, he needed plenty of top-grade healing and foundation-stabilizing medicines. It was expensive and risky, and he could die in the process. He concluded that he just needed to prepare a condensation pill at the Zhang's estate. Someone was yelling. Zhibai scolded the poison master at the condensation realm for not being able to kill a senior student. The man apologized and explained that something must have gone wrong. He begged for a second chance and promised that the kid would die for real. Zhibai was worried now that Hei's score ranks 10th in class. He didn't want that thorn in his eye to succeed so easily. He gave the man 1 more week, and if Hei wasn't dead, he would have his head. A loud noise from the roof caught his attention. Unexpectedly, Hei broke through using a sword. A few moments before this confrontation, the security in the Zhang residence was tight. One of the guards stationed on the 2nd floor saw his colleague drop dead. He quickly grabbed the radio to notify that someone broke in, but before he could finish his sentence, he was struck. Then, Hei jumped to the balcony on the 2nd floor. He hit the guards on the roof, too. Then he heard Zhibai giving the deadline for his death. He concentrated his power on his hand and made a hole to drop down for 2 floors, and when he reached where Zhibai was, he took out his sword and stabbed him on the shoulder. This bully had no idea that he messed with the wrong person. Imagine bullying the new student, and then the next thing he knew is that he nearly lost his life if he was hit a few inches from his heart. But still, he still tried to retaliate. Zhibai used his palm technique to push him away. Because of that, Hei pulled out the sword and blocked the palm using his, and it threw Zhibai several walls away, until he made a dent on the last wall. But then needles were thrown to Hei. He skillfully blocked it using his sword, though he was slightly caught off guard when a man tried to hit him with a unique weapon. It was a staff with a metallic end that closes and opens like a flower. He blocked it using his sword, but the man had pushed a button in the weapon, and it released a blade that pointed to his eye. He moved a bit sideways, so it only scratched him. The man had to step back. This man recognized the intruder as the high school student who got lucky and didn't die from his poison. He was just on his way to find him, and he came to him instead. He revealed that the venom needle he released earlier wasn't something to be taken lightly. He used his ancestral recipe, so its toxicity was in a whole different league. It was a sudden death for the brat. Hei's cheek bled, but he just glared at him, which gave the poison master an unsettling feeling. Then Hei was gone. In a flash, he charged at Zhibai and pointed the sword at him. He tried to stab him, but he was able to evade. Then he swung his sword. But he sensed something. Several needles were released towards his way. It was from the poison master. He was offended that Hei just ignored him. He was also annoyed since, with the potency of his poison, he should have already died. And yet the kid was still standing. Hei broke an item. Then this guy told Zhibai to run and that he would cover him with a curtain of needles. Hei watched as Zhibai jumped through the window to escape. Zhibai made it out. Then the poison master decided to demonstrate the power of condensation realm. The needles that punctured the wall released a green mist. Hei started coughing. He could tell that the poison fog was more intense than the previous toxic-laden needles. The poison started to show on his skin, and he dropped dead. The poison master laughed out loud. He mocked him for thinking he was immune to every poison when it turns out he couldn't withstand his finishing move. To his surprise, a statue was cut in half. Hei's eyes opened. He took his sword and slashed the poison master. At this point, he knew he fucked up. Apparently, ever since Divine Dragon used a clay avatar technique to divert damage, she no longer gets covered in blood every time something happens, but 2 had been destroyed right off the bat, which signals her that Hei ran into something tricky. She decided to check what was happening. She saw him slashing someone. The poison master couldn't believe that a realm cultivator like him actually got done in by someone from the spiritual attraction realm. He bled too much. And when Hei checked, he already had no pulse. He looted him since the items, though useless, can be turned to cash. Meanwhile, Zhibai was on a roadside in a mountain, panting like crazy. He was out of breath from running away. He even forgot his phone, so he had to flag down a car and borrow a phone to call for backup. He was so furious with that transfer student. He couldn't believe that he would dare to take revenge on the Zhang family. Once he had gathered the family's assassins, he vowed to kill him and wipe out his entire family. To his surprise, Hei appeared and asked him who he was going to kill. Hei attacked him with his sword, but he dodged. Then Zhibai used 100 refined steel to strengthen his body. He was cut on his arm. It bled while he stepped back to create distance between them. Before he could steady his footing, an orb was thrown to his face, and then it exploded, which caused him to fall down on the cliff. He hit the ground with a powerful impact. He followed to end him. He couldn't move and tried to intimidate him by saying that he's from the Zhang family. But He didn't care. He slashed the head off. He admitted that if it weren't for the Dragon King taking all the damage, he would have killed him several times over. He couldn't believe that even at death's door, Jibai still used that same family background intimidation routine. He burned the body and erased the evidence, and even if he did, he expected the Zhang family to link the death to him, whether they had proof or not. And he's still using the Zhang family's patented technique, so he knew that conflict wouldn't be avoided in the future. But he was satisfied that his revenge wasn't for nothing. Even though he rushed out, he still managed to snatch up some valuable stuff. It was the condensation pills, and he obtained 3 of them. He knew that Jibai's brother had to offer sacrifices to the Dragon King just to get one. He learned how complicated the relationships among the disciples of the major sect. He also grabbed some gold, silver, treasures, talismans, and standard-issue blades and such. He planned to sell them all later. The system detected the word sell and offered a sales system that they might like. Ever since he learned advanced payment skills, the system-like pop-ups started appearing. He assumed it was designed by the Stinky Dragon. And now it even became crazier with the e-commerce platform's big data and how it communicated to him. Then he realized he had to delete his browsing history fast. A wheel showed up in front of him and it had options like cultivation technique, magic artifact, etc. He clicked sell. The dynamic monocle, horizontal blade, poison lotus, gold bars, and all other junk were sold. His account has been credited with 1,054,178 yuan. Then the system lit up. The heaven opening blade was being sold for 1 million yuan. He wasn't happy that everything was sold for 1.05 million, and yet he was asked 1 million for a single premium blade. He remembered similar quality artifacts outside going for way cheaper. He claimed that it was a robbery. It's not that he couldn't afford it, it was just not worth it. He decided to check something else instead. There were pocket pants for 50,000 yuan. It was durable and tear-resistant pants. Both side pockets were spatial bags and can hold many items. He finds this one was pretty useful. He spent 100,000 yuan and was left with a remaining balance of 954,718 yuan. He checked out other items like boiling blood, a premium item that costs 600,000 yuan. With this, the more blood he loses, the stronger his attacks are. There was also a good item called Swift Eye Contact Lens, which costs 50,000 yuan. It enhances dynamic vision by 50%, making it easier to see fast-moving objects. Another good item was the anti-impact shirt for 100,000 yuan. The t-shirt was tougher than him, so he won't worry of his clothes tearing in battle. Then, there were the grip shoes for 200,000 yuan. It had super traction soles. When activated with spiritual power, it can adhere to surfaces. The actual effect depends on the user's cultivation. In total, he spent 950,000 yuan, which brings his remaining balance to 4,718 yuan, which made him cry. While it made Divine Dragon smile, she was determined not to let the brat die easily for casting a blood curse like that on her. Someone called the Lord Dragon King. It was a cat, and it reported that they had found a way to break the human's blood curse. She went with the cat towards the altar. The cat reported that the bloodline wasn't anything special. Hei's ancestors could only place blood curses on low-realm demon beasts. Those beasts couldn't even withstand the transferred damage, so his ancestors often died quickly in low-level fights. That's why no sex ever took an interest in his bloodline. He's always been a nobody in the mortal world. She asked how he was able to cast a blood curse on him when she's a celestial. She was the Dragon King. The cat speculated that it was because when she descended to the mortal realm, the Celestial Emperor's restriction spell forcibly downgraded her cultivation to a very low realm. Plus, the boy's intense will to survive at the moment greatly increased the upper limit of his blood curse. However, his curse still depends on his own cultivation level. A cultivator of the spiritual attraction realm can only tap into a very small portion of her health bar. Once that part runs out, he'll die. The magic circle was about ready. The cat instructed her to step into the center of the formation. The magic circles had formed above her, and then she cried at the immense pain from the thing coming out of her body. Meanwhile, on Earth, it was quiet. Hei was deep asleep, and that line had entered Hei's body. She saw that the blood curse had taken a very tangible form. She condensed her power into her hand and attempted to chop it off, But she got interrupted when someone knocked on her door. It was a messenger. He relayed that the celestial minister was inviting her. The cat was confused that the message wasn't sent via talisman, and instead, a personal envoy was sent. Divine Dragon was on guard since this visitor didn't come with good intentions. Divine Dragon stood in front of the throne, but it was empty. Suddenly, someone asked her if she wanted to sit there. A man appeared on the right side of the throne. He told her that the Celestial Emperor hasn't emerged in years, so the throne had been empty for ages, and there would be no harm with her sitting there for a bit. She scoffed and pointed out how every immortal knew that he was the most eager to sit there. She warned him not to play those kinds of mind games with her and got to the business why he called her there. He commented that she's still as hot-tempered as ever. Then he informed her the reason why he called her was because of her application for promotion to High Immortal. It was rejected. It made her angry because back then she gave up her territory and subordinates and agreed to join the Immortal Palace. It was precisely because he promised she would be promoted to High Immortal after 100 years. He explained that things were different now because tons of minor immortals were applying for promotion. So if they approve her basing only on a promise made centuries ago, the immortals would object. He suggested that she accumulates more merit and raise her cultivation level a bit more. She was gone before he could finish his sentence. The cat was surprised that she's back already. She was flying through the sky at an immense speed, and it was evident on her expression how furious she was. The cat knew that wasn't good. She was almost at the cliff. When she landed, it created a huge explosion. The impact could be felt in the whole forest. The cat fell headfirst on the rock. It asked if she's all right. She laid there on the rocks while she sarcastically replied that she feels fine aside from feeling restrained. The cat couldn't possibly believe she was restrained when she just shattered a whole mountain. Her free range was over, so it was time for her to push that mule harder. Meanwhile, in the human realm forest, Hay was training, and the bird near him was annoyed because it couldn't sleep. Eventually, the system notified him that the spirit-attracting breathing technique had been completed. Now his foundation for charging into the condensation realm was even more solid. With that done, after the advance payment to the condensation realm, all elements should be in place, minus some essential follow-up cultivation. He activated his advanced cultivation condensation realm. Power surged through his body. The concentrated power shoots up to the sky. Smoke and dust filled the area. Eventually, it cleared up. His eye glowed red. With this condensation realm advancement prepaid, his body's strength, mana, max health points significantly increased, while divine sense was greatly enhanced. Comprehension ability was significantly boosted. He also unlocked condensation realm exclusive techniques, artifacts, and items. He was told to fulfill the conditions for the condensation realm, which were 1 condensation pill, 10 superior foundation stabilizing pills, 3 bottles of superior spiritual herb extract, and 10 layers of spirit attracting realm. He was surprised that that was it since he had everything already. It was easier than he thought, but he jinxed himself. The side quest showed up. It instructed him to clear the secret realm while suffering the hemorrhage curse within the time limit. After the mission, 30% of his cultivation and merit would be deducted as interest on the advance to the condensation realm. Later repayment would incur compound interest. He had no idea where this demon cave was. As if on cue, a red glow appeared. The magic circle was beneath him. He panicked since he wasn't prepared yet. As he fell, the 20-minute timer started. He complained how intense it was. Even more when he's falling on the spikes. He concentrated his energy on the hands and feet, so he could grip the wall. He slid at first, but was able to stop just an inch before his ass hit the tip of the spike. That was really close. He almost lost his life. Even though his health bar was thicker, getting hurt still hurts, and he also had no idea when the hemorrhage would hit. If he can help it, he'd rather avoid injury. A metal arm was released towards him. Luckily, he saw it. He drops down to evade it. As soon as he did, there was another spike, which he countered by slashing it in half. His speed, strength, and reflexes had all improved significantly. Although he didn't have the best knife that can cut iron, after mobilizing some magic power, a stone arm thicker than a waist can be cut off with 1 sword. Those were the benefits of improving basic cultivation. He saw an incoming attack. He had to move in zigzag motions upwards, as he aimed to leave the pit, but a hand blocked the exit. He was ambushed from the front and back. He used Black Nether Fistcore Thunder, and smashed everything. After that, his timer was at 17 minutes 36 seconds. A rock in human form appeared from the ground. Several of them had shown up. They looked like a rock and a human-shaped warrior with a hammer as a weapon. He didn't have much time to deal with them because of the time limit, and he started hemorrhaging. While he was down on his knees, the rock soldier raised its hammer. The rock soldier swung its hammer, and it hit something. It was a hand which Hay created through an advanced payment skill, Stone Golem. Since he was experiencing massive blood loss, it activated boiling blood, which increased his attack power. Then he split the rock soldier in half using his dagger. The system instructed him to complete the Stone Golem's training. He had to control the golem to use different attack techniques against enemies. His progress was at 0/5. He released a golem hand to defeat all those rock soldiers. He crushed it, and others were punched using his golem hand. The golem hand was raised in the air. Meanwhile, in another setting, Jiqian slapped a chained woman to wake her up. The woman came back to her senses. She was in front of a creepy altar. She just drank a soda, so she had no idea how she woke up in a place like that. She asked her manager, Jiqian, how it happened. Jiqian was annoyed because he hadn't broken even when taking the condensation pill, and the dragon doesn't respond to his offerings now. Because of that, he decided to pray to another deity for another condensation pill. The black-haired woman, who was his subordinate, panicked when she realized that he's trying to sacrifice her. She couldn't believe it. She had been getting paid 3,000 wen a month doing the work of a beast, and now she had to sacrifice her life too. She claimed that there's nowhere in the company contract that says anything about that. Jiqian clarified that their company had nothing to do with it when she signed a contract with a labor dispatch agency. It was unbelievable. He pointed a knife at her neck and told her that it was enough chatter. She begged him not to kill her. Unexpectedly, an explosion happened. It was because of a wooden stick, handled by Hay. Hay saw the manager who treated his employees like his own kids. Then he showed him a bad finger. At this point, Hay had finished the Stone Golem training phase. Jiqian's jaw dropped when he saw him. He couldn't believe he found the place and got past the mechanical golems outside. Hay pointed out how he's not surprised that he's still alive. He guessed that someone had already informed him how hard he was to kill. He suggested that it was the dead brother of Jiqian who said that. Jiqian couldn't believe that his brother was killed by him. Then he asked if Hay had the condensation pill of his brother. He attacked him and forced him to hand it over. He wasn't even curious how his brother died. He only helped him kill Hay before because he was saving his face as well as his. But now that he's dead, as the elder brother, he claimed rights to his belongings. He was caught off guard when he saw Hay's palm technique. It blew his right arm into pieces. The black-haired woman looked away, and Jiqian's body slid towards the entrance of the altar. His blood spilled, and the creature on the other side of the altar sensed it. It awakened the creature. I sensed the sinister aura. At this moment, there were only 9 minutes and 20 seconds left. He cut the chains of the woman. The woman remembered him. She knew he vanished without a trace after the company. She didn't expect him to be that powerful. He replied that he had no time to explain and had the golem escort her out first. She was too stunned to speak when the golem hand grabbed her. Meanwhile, Jiqian's body was being absorbed by the creature in the dark altar, and that creature opened its eyes, then grabbed a sword. Then she stepped out. Just looking at her red, glowing body, you could already tell that she's not an ordinary being. Hay saw her. His eyes immediately tried to gauge her power, but her power was overwhelming. Just her presence made him already bleed. He tried to use divine senses to assess her cultivation level, but got hit with a countermeasure instead. The exit where she came out had closed. It made Hay wonder what kind of being Jiqian would end up accidentally sacrificing himself to. And without saying a word, she charged at him. He blocked her sword using his dagger, but her strength made him fall to his knees, and the sword scratched his shoulder. She was about to kick him. He blocked it using his other arm, and then an explosion followed. He was thrown towards the wall of the cave. She got into her combat stance. Hay noticed how heavy and forceful her strikes were. He planned to use the golem to assist when she charges again. But before he could do anything, he was already slashed. At the floating island, 3 clay statues had shattered. The divine dragon seemed bothered that all the death substitute puppets exploded all at once. She could tell it was a sign that she'd die. Meanwhile, Hay was confused why he didn't even see the sword swing, but he had already been struck. He fell on his stomach. The woman closed her eyes as a magic circled around her finger. Then she was about to strike him again. She targeted his neck, but he blocked it using his dagger. The impact was so powerful that it released a gust of air around them. He realized that she even wanted to finish him off with a follow-up strike. He signaled using his finger. And the golem hand appeared. It tried to hit her, but she evaded it by doing a somersault. Then she created distance between them. She was slightly caught off guard when he followed up with an attack using his dagger. The system notified Hay of the 99% damage he received, and boiling blood had been activated. He was thrilled that he could finally duel properly. He also learned that her move that one-shot him earlier had a sequence, so it was no wonder he couldn't defend against it. He continuously attacked using his dagger, which she skillfully countered using her sword. Then he threw an orb. She got distracted by it, and as soon as it hit her sword, it exploded. It made her use her one-shot move again. He saw it coming. He was actually waiting for it. The system notified him that the enemy skill had been prepaid. She unleashed Celestial Annihilation. They both released destructive energy, and when it clashed, it caused another explosion. When the dust cleared, it revealed that they were still both standing. But seconds later, the woman fell. Hay was all right, though. She was confused about how it happened because she launched an attack on him first. It should have hit, but he was unharmed. He mocked her for being so flustered that she spoke normally. All the while, he thought she was mute. He replied that she can strike preemptively, but he could do the same. At first, he wanted to prepare a defense against the final outcome of her attack, but he couldn't. It seemed like it required a much higher cultivation level. Then he remembered that the last time they clashed, she didn't finish him off and then tried to slice his neck as follow-up. He anticipated that next time, she would go for his head. And so, he prepared for that, and as a bonus, he stole a slash too. It made her furious, but something distracted her. A magic circle appeared. Then Hay was warned to complete the hand signs for his prepaid technique, or he'll face divine retribution. It was his first time seeing the divine punishment that one must endure when using prepaid Heaven's Law techniques. They both made a hand gesture. The woman panicked because the signs won't align. A hand from the ground appeared and restrained her arms. She refused to let that stop her from completing her cast. But he didn't need to stop her from finishing it. He just needed to waste her time. She broke free. Then she continued her signs. But it was already too late. Several magic circles fell. It was a tribulation. It destroyed a wide area. Hay was safe, though. The system notified him that quasi-condensation realm prepayment had been completed. It had deducted the required share of cultivation and virtue from the session. His cultivation has risen to the third layer of the condensation realm. New system resources were then unlocked for prepayment. The woman climbed out of the pit. Hay blocked her path and said that she's still breathing. She admitted that she lost and he could kill her, or skin her, or whatever he wants. That made her different from the others who begged mercy before dying. But she was surprisingly calm. He was about to strike her with his dagger. She closed her eyes as she braced for the attack. But nothing happened. To her surprise, all her wounds were healed. Then Hay told her that they now share one health bar. He invited her to ascend together. Blood curse was inscribed on this woman named Long Yin. Damage taken by her in combat will now be transferred to the Dragon King. At the bath, the cat was sleeping peacefully. The water in the bathtub turned into bubbles, and the divine dragon stood up. The cat was surprised with her sudden action, so it woke up and asked what happened. The divine dragon felt something strange, like another vampire was on her. The system notified Hay that the advanced payment skill has been upgraded. He can now make advanced payments for magical artifacts, elixirs, but the level of the items cannot exceed his current major realm. The next day in school, Long Yin appeared wearing skimpy clothing. Hay turned to her. Fatty and the green-haired guy watched her. Fatty curious who she was. The green-haired guy teased him for being into his sister-in-law. He turned pale and clarified that his heart had only room for teacher Jew. Hay asked the woman if they knew each other. She pointed out that they just battled a few days ago. She reminded him that they're on the same health bar. Hay finally recognized her. She changed her hairstyle. That's why he couldn't recognize her. Then he asked her how she managed enrollment procedures and transfers into their class. She sat beside him and replied that one fresh trick works every time. 2 days ago, the principal received gold bars to admit a new transfer student, and in the present setting. The homeroom teacher, Teacher Tao, announced that the small-scale tests were over and it would be the beginning of the mock exams. For most of them there, it would be their first real combat experience. They have all studied hard for dozens of years, so it was time for them to show the true results of their cultivation. He called all students to assemble in the examination area. First, the grade 12 Class 1 was told to assemble. Then the Class 2 began the roll call. Class 3 were all present. Class 4, was called next. Yin finds the exam interesting. Their green-haired classmate was worried that they would embarrass themselves in front of the whole grade. Hei assured him that it's going to be fine. It made him perk up. But to his disappointment, Hei explained that he's shameless, so he didn't care about being embarrassed. The teacher announced the examination rules. Each class has its own exclusive examination area. The edges of the area have been sealed with barriers, ensuring that candidates who win the same exam will not interfere with each other. Each candidate will fight the same monster. Those who achieve a KO within 5 minutes will receive a full score. Those who fail to get a KO by the end of the exam time would be scored based on the effective damage dealt. If an emergency occurs during the exam, Teacher Joe in the center of the field would intervene. The exam had officially begun. Students whose names were called would come down and prepare. First was Grade 12 Class 1 Zhao Jiakang and Guofan Liang. Also Class 2 Tang Long and Class 4 Yugasaki Hanako. Hei asked why there were people from the Ying sect there. The green-haired student replied that it's because it's a mission from the Cultivation Education Bureau. As part of the top-tier sect peace treaty, almost every high school has to accept a few exchange students from the Ying sect. He thought only regular high schools had exchange students. He didn't expect cultivation high schools to do that too. A long, black-haired girl sensed something. This girl was Ryugasaki Hanako, and she glanced at the audience. Hei could tell her intuition was sharp. Yin was annoyed that she glared at her master. She claimed that she's the only one who gets to glare at her little bro. The green-haired guy commented that the hierarchy between them was something else. Hei was speechless. They had begun, and the exam monster was summoned. A large, creepy portal appeared at the center. An eye appeared. Then it revealed this mushroom man creature. Teacher Jian felt the ominous aura. He was nervous because it was the cloud canopy demon lord that was suppressed by the Taizong sect. He told Teacher Tao that using it for the first mock exam was too much. Teacher Tao called him impatient and mocked him that it was no wonder he's still a PE teacher. Teacher Tao explained that if it had been the original body, even after being suppressed, all of them would have died already. But the exam monsters were all clones grown from the spores of that demon lord. Although they were also at the condensation realm, their strength was below that of proctoring teachers, and the site was surrounded by suppression stones, so they had nothing to worry about. A student released fire talismans. It made the monster jump backwards. The teacher announced that if they failed to cause any damage to the exam monster before the end of the exam, it would result in a score of 0. The student who released the fire talisman could only sob. Another student threw a barrage of rocks on the exam monster, but was punched by the monster instead. The student had been able to damage the monster, but the monster threw him outside the examination area, so he failed. Then they announced results for other students like Zhang Shuiwen with 61 points, Wu Liwan failed, Chen Zhanglin with 68 points. The bystanders couldn't believe how difficult the first mock exam for the year was. Not a single person has scored over 70, and only a handful have passed. They questioned which teacher came up with the exam. They planned to find out later. The green-haired student was relieved. He had nothing to be embarrassed about now, since everyone was embarrassed already. Then he saw something. Teacher Jian expressed that Teacher Tao had gone too far. Making the first mock exam so hard could destroy the students' confidence. Teacher Tao reasoned that if they can't even withstand a mock exam of that difficulty, then it would be the worst class he ever taught. He noticed something at the arena. Hanako was running away from the monster. He didn't expect that. She was heading for the edge of the barrier. He couldn't believe that she's forfeiting the exam. But before she crossed the barrier, she jumped. She was about to cross the barrier. But she did not. Instead, she used it to steady herself and to gain more momentum as she prepared for her attack. The monster was about to punch her. She unsheathed her sword, and in an instant, she sliced the monster into pieces. Teacher Jian was surprised with the complete knockout. She received a full score. The crowd were amazed. Most were struggling to pass, and yet she got a full score. They called her a monster and wondered where she came from. One of them replied that she's the exchange student from the Ying sect, the top student of Class 4. A samurai watched her. He looked smug. He knew it was just the beginning. He arranged an extra exam for them. Mushrooms had sprouted from the cracks on the floor of the arena, and it was connected to a scarier creature underneath. The next batch was called. The first one called was Grade 12 Class 1 Lai Junhao. The green-haired guy expected him to get a full score too, since he is the #1 student in Class 1. He noticed Hei moving his hand, so he asked what he's gesturing at. Hei knew he couldn't see the system prize wheel, so he simply replied that he's just waving off some mosquitoes. He didn't care about who's number one, he only cared about what good magical artifacts he can get an advance payment on. Meanwhile, the fangirls cheered for Junhao. Junhao was confident to kill the exam monsters. He was eager to prove that there was no difference in level even between two number ones. Black mist appeared in the area. The mushroom monster emitted the mist. Teacher Tao had no idea who came up with that kind of monster. Junhao was confident that even when it changed its form, he would still instantly kill it. Several writing appeared on his fist when he clenched it. Then he punched the monster and made it fly backwards. Teacher Jian was surprised with his power. Teacher Tao explained that Junhao imprints a magic formation on his arm to increase the destructive power of his fist. The kid had a lot of hope for a guaranteed admission to Peking University of Tsinghua University, but the teacher hid his anger that he wasn't in his class. The attack was so destructive that it caved the ground. He boasted that the punch guaranteed his admission, and that he also had proven that there was a distinction between two number ones. But he turned pale. Even the teachers got worried. The monster stood in front of him. He was shocked that it was still standing. He finds it strange. He knew it wasn't because he twisted his waist and set his shoulder incorrectly, affecting the power generation. He decided to just do it again. But Teacher Jian, in panic, screamed at him to get away from there. He continued to punch, though, but before he could land the punch, he was instead punched in the gut and was thrown away. He crashed on the wall with a powerful impact. Teacher Jian had come to his aid and supported him to stand, but he also coughed blood. He did his best to disperse the force, but he still suffered internal injuries. He knew the monster wasn't supposed to be there. He got on the phone to call for reinforcements, since an off-the-charts monster had just appeared. The person on the other line asked what the difficulty of the current exam was. He requested for the highest realm teachers available. The monster was running towards them. Someone restrained its feet. The proctor was offended that the monster acted like he didn't exist. He also bound the monster's arms. Little did they know that the monster underneath had fully opened its eyes. The mushroom monster created spikes from its back, and it pierced through the ground. The proctor continued to hold the strings that bind it, but something underneath had shattered the ground around him. He knew that's not good. The area he was in exploded. The monster broke free, but a fireball came raining down on it. It countered it by releasing something from its mushroom head, and it clashed with the fireball, creating another explosion. The monster ran out of the smoky area. It targeted the person on the roof who was releasing the fireballs. Hanako watched the chaos from the top of the walls. She unsheathes her swords. The samurai beside her asked her what she's doing. She told him she'd go down to help. This man, Seizaki Kaku from Ryugasaki's sect, screamed at her if she was a fool. He told her that the exam was set up specifically to pave the road for you. As long as the off-the-charts monster accidentally takes out those top-ranking students in the grade, she would be guaranteed admission to Tsinghua University or Peking University, even Xuxian University. She didn't want to use such despicable methods to obtain a guaranteed admission spot. She was determined to tear up that despicable monster, but suddenly she felt weird. She cradled her head and screamed from the pain. Kaku used a soul-binding curse on her. He was relieved to have placed her on a leash. Otherwise, his father's meticulously planned operation would have been wasted. Hanako inherited none of the cold-blooded and cruel virtues of the Ryugasaki family. In her bones, she still had the fatal flaw of her original bloodline. She was gentle, kind, and upright. It made him wonder why his father would waste resources on her. He got distracted when an explosion happened on the top of the building. Teacher Tao was thrown out. He realized that the monster was at least at the 5th layer of the condensation realm. He questioned who on earth issued that exam monster. He activated a body protecting an astral shield. The monster rushed towards him. It was moving so fast that his eyes couldn't keep up. He could only create an omnidirectional defensive shield. The monster attacked him. It made a crack on the shield, and eventually shattering it and grabbing Teacher Tao by the neck. It had this huge grin on its face. The teacher had drooled and his eyes turned white as the monster choked him. But someone intervened and cut the arm of the monster into pieces. And of course, it was none other than our boy. 15 minutes ago. The green-haired student trembled beside Hei after seeing the monster. Hei could tell that the guy had been intimidated by the demonic aura. He didn't expect that those at the condensation realm would be so easily frightened by the demonic aura. And the cultivation level of this monster was at the 7th layer of the condensation realm. Yin was able to determine that, so he was impressed at how sharp she can be. But she clarified that it was her body. It sensed the powerful opponent and was getting agitated. It is what had told her what class of opponent that is. Hei pressed on his wheel again. He set up a barrier around the perimeter so it won't be easy for that monster to escape. He also assumed that the monster planned to wipe them all. Currently, Hay is at the 3rd layer of the condensation realm. Counting his extra-long health bar, his actual strength was close to the 7th layer. He checked the market for some weapons. After looking through all the newly unlocked weapons, he found the only top-grade one and also the only available through advance payment. He also liked its attributes. Channeling mana through it can refine and absorb the attributes of other magical artifacts. The realm of the refined artifact cannot be higher than the weapon's current realm. He could also channel mana to make the weapon absorb his techniques and release them. He acquired this Cloud Ruin guide through advance payment. He placed it beside his dagger. Then he informed Yin that after he went down, she had to stay up there as a precaution. He had a feeling that the bonus monster would bring out another bonus monster. Yin agreed, though she inquired if those teachers couldn't take care of those monsters. Hay could tell she had a natural instinct for the strong ones, but not for the not-so-strong. So, he explained that those few teachers were all at the 1st layer of the condensation realm. Only the homeroom teacher, Tao, was at the 5th layer. If Tao was able to prepare and set up a formation in advance, he would barely manage. But in a sudden encounter, he was at a huge disadvantage. And it was exactly what he was good at. The refinement of the weapon has been completed, and it has obtained the boiling blood attribute. Tao was already choking when Hay came to save him. Teacher Tao was surprised to see his transfer student. Hay told him that there's a barrier on the outer side of the wall blocking the student's escape route, so he requested him to find a way to break it while he deals with the monster. Tao was passionate about his role of being a teacher and a role model for educators. He stepped back, determined to protect his students. The monster listened to him while spores appeared on the side of its neck, and its arm had regenerated. Hay noticed how fast it healed. It looks brand new in a blink of an eye. He assumed that this was a trait of fungus-type monsters, but then the monster charged at him. He used his sword to block it. He noticed how its fist got harder. Then it was about to punch him using the other hand. He was able to learn that it was compressing the demonic aura on the surface of its fist to increase hardness. It prepared for another punch. It was powerful enough to send Hay flying. Fortunately, he was able to stop himself from crashing on the wall. But in a blink of an eye, the monster was beside him already. It raised its fist again. Then it punched him. The explosion made it hard for them to see. Teacher Jian was worried that the transfer student was going to die. Teacher Tao then suggested he go down and save him. He was left speechless. Teacher Tao knew that Teacher Jian had always hid himself from the distance, so Teacher Jian saving the #1 student made him certain that the student's family had a word with him. Otherwise, he would have never gone down there to save him. Teacher Jian's silence had confirmed that. Teacher Tao admitted that the transfer student's courage was commendable, but there's nothing they could do. No one in there could solve the problem. They would be lucky if they can just break the barrier before that friend comes up there. The mushroom continuously punched the area where Hay would have been. Teacher Jian couldn't take how tragic it was. Hay would probably have been beaten to pulp already. The monster looked like it was enjoying itself when Hay grabbed its fist to stop it. Both Teacher Jian and the monster were surprised. The boiling blood effect had activated, so it was now Hay's turn. He hit the monster using his sword and sent it flying to the other side of the arena. The monster got up on its knees. Then it saw a light from the sky. It was Hay's sword. At the last minute, the monster caught it with its palms. Then Hay activated the Dark Sword Heart Thunder. The tip of the blade released a dark orb that was just a few inches away from the monster's face. Then it exploded. Only a foot was left from the monster. Its spores spread. Teacher Jian was amazed that he took it down in just one hit. But Hay sensed something. He looked at the sky and saw another monster there. It was almost the same monster, except this one had a large eye on the mushroom cap, and the mushroom cap spinned away from its head. Then the mushroom cap released some spikes. It formed into a missile and rained down on Hay. Hay braced himself for the incoming attack. The monster showered them with missiles. All of the other students panicked and ran. There was a barrier outside, so they had to run in any direction. Hay made a hand gesture. To activate the stolen golem shield formation. The students were worried since the area of effect was wide. There was no way they could escape. One of them was about to be hit. It exploded near the student's face. It was a huge explosion, and it created a domino effect. The other missiles exploded simultaneously. The student braced himself, but to his surprise, he was safe. They celebrated that they're still alive. At the same time, they were curious on who set up such a large-scale defensive formation. It was a massive formation that drained so much magical power and cultivation. They already knew that person would be one of the top students for that year. The shield was all over the place. Yin realized that He wasn't ruthless enough. He actually saved his classmates, even when there's no need to save those with bad grades. And those top students, when they take the Cultivation University exams, they would target him. He's magical power was almost depleted, but he assumed it was the same for the mushroom cap in the sky. It disintegrated, the monster grits its teeth, and then it disappeared. It showed up beside He. He immediately kicked his sword towards him, and jumped before the monster landed its punch. He created a distance between them. But in a blink of an eye, the monster was already behind him. He countered its punch using his sword. His sword emits black static, and he swung it again. It beheaded the monster, and made its body step back. In no time, the head regenerated, and it was good as brand new. After He applied lightning magic on the blade, he could cut off its head easily. But its head can regenerate, which means the vital point wasn't the head. He suspected it was hidden in the torso. The monster unzips its face. It revealed an eye at the center of the forehead. In a flash, it was gone. He noticed how it got faster again, but he saw where it appeared and attacked there. The monster ducked and punched him on the side. It sent him flying while coughing blood. Then the monster circled around him at lightning speed. It was so fast that it created an afterimage, and it continued to circle around him. Even so, He had been able to skillfully block its attacks. It punches continuously. He had been hit on several parts of his body, but he stood strong. Teacher Jian was slightly disappointed that he was on the losing end after all. He really thought the transfer student could turn tables. Teacher Tao emphasized that it was hopeless in the first place. There was no way for the student to win with such a huge power gap. But still, for a transfer student to fight even with a clear disadvantage, he was impressive. The raw power could rank him in the top 10 of the year. Yin watched the continuous exchange of blows. She was getting impatient that he's not using the move he used to beat her. He was pushed back. The monster was so fast that it was hard for him to keep up, especially the burst of speed right before it attacks. Even if he defends with all his might, he can only block a small part of it. He had 150% damage, so the boiling blood had been activated. He assumed his combat stance. And charges forward. He raised his sword. Teacher Jian was confused since he had taken a stance but wasn't moving. He thought he gave up. But then He released a skill called the Heavenly Law of Annihilation. The power even shot up to where Teacher Jian was. It also broke the barrier. Teacher Tao was surprised that the barrier shattered easily when he couldn't break even with all his efforts. It made him feel unworthy of being a teacher and thought of just quitting. The monster's body was gone. He acquired a Durian Fiend Core. After a period of cultivation and growth, it can be controlled by a Beastmaster to assist in combat. The system urged him to complete the ritual process for the Heavenly Law of Annihilation. He made hand gestures, which eventually completed the ritual. Teacher Jian was in awe. He couldn't even see the last strike clearly. Then he told Teacher Tao that with He's strength, he could be more than a top 10 of his grade. He could even match those few on the top. But Teacher Tao had no response because he was dwelling with his own incompetence. Later that day, He and Yin walked in a park. He had ascended to the 9th layer of the condensation realm. He can then advance pay techniques to others. Yin checked her phone and saw that He was trending. Everyone was saying that he's the biggest Dark Horse transfer student. They also said that he's guaranteed admission into top cultivation universities. She saw him gesturing in the air, so she asked what he was doing. He replied that he is simply paying his health insurance. He submitted 30% of the cultivation experience and merit points gained from the session to the Divine Dragon. He noticed how he wasn't healed anymore. It only heals him after the health insurance payment was received. He noticed that she had changed. The payment towards her was blocked by a dark cloud. He watched intently. As the black cloud covered the sky, it covered the wide area around them. It was the black abyss forbidden domain. They wouldn't be able to get in or out, and the inside and outside were invisible to each other. The formation was usually set up when someone wanted to kill a witness to silence them. A kunai was thrown at them. He blocked it using his hand golem, but the kunai was encrypted, so it exploded upon contact. Yin made some distance, but she got stuck in a puddle of dark liquid. It engulfed her. He watched the smoke clear. He was amused with the technique they did. They had imprinted a small-scale explosion formation onto a kunai and used an incessant battle mansion technique to drag a disciple inside. Hanako charged at him. She swung her sword and he blocked it using his sword. She swung it again. It hit his hand. But he saw that she used the back of her sword. Then he dropped his sword. Hanako jumped and created distance between them. He asked her if she did the whole maneuver just to snatch his weapon. She replied that her father ordered him to kill since he's a competitor towards her path to higher education. But she doesn't like doing things that way, so she planned to take his weapon and report back that he's dead, on the condition that he leaves the country and gives up any thoughts of college entrance exams. Otherwise, as long as he appears in school and in top rank, the people from the Ying sect won't let him go. Her sword glowed. The system informed Hei that the post-payment mission for the Weapon Cloud Ruin Guide has been triggered. A battle of supremacy then commenced. Both of them started being enveloped by a dark smoke. She asked him what was happening. She jumped and settled on a branch. Her eyes widened. When she saw a different place, she jumped to the roof. She was puzzled how she ended up there. Hai explained that it was the realm of past reflections. It was a secret realm where one can only view past memories but cannot interfere with them. The blade was advanced and it connected to her, so she immediately triggered the post-payment mission after taking it. The post-payment mission forcibly pulled them into the realm of past reflections. She saw that the stolen blade had disappeared from her hands. He told her that the original body of the advanced paid blade should still be in the secret realm. If they don't find it, the blade would not return to his hand. They heard someone singing. The song was familiar to her. She saw someone running towards the house. It was Hanako when she was still younger. Once she reached the door, she announced to her dad that she had arrived home. Her eyes widened in shock. Everyone inside was dead. She cried out to her big sisters and brothers. She saw her mom with a sword on her torso. Then someone noticed her. It was the senior brother. She was confused why he's wearing the clothes of the Ying sect. She asked him what he was doing. He had a creepy grin as he approached her. Back when Hua was just at 5th grade elementary school. Xianhui jumped on the branches, then she threw knives. It all landed at the target. It was bullseye. Then she jumped back down. A woman on the branch told her that her technique was better than her when she was her age. It was her big sister. Her name was Hua Qianjing. She informed her that she missed one, the target behind the other tree. Qianhui threw a knife at it. Qianjing was surprised at what she did. She threw a second knife to make the first one change direction mid-air. Then the knife hit the target. She released another knife, and it hit the tree. The impact was so powerful that it created a hole. Qianjing took a closer look. It was unbelievable. Qianhui forced the knife from behind. She wanted to know if she hit the mark or not. Qianjing informed her that she passed, and since it was getting late, they decided to go back. Qianhui informed her dad that they're back home. Her dad pats her head and asks how her practice was. She shared that she hit all the targets, even the one from behind the big tree. While they were conversing, someone slashed wood. It was Hua Zheng of the Hua clan. She noticed how his blade techniques had improved again. Qianjing asked their dad if he was really going to teach him the family's iron wall blade technique. Their dad admitted that he was considering it. Although the boy was not from their lineage, he had been with them for 3 years. And from his observations over the past few years, he was very polite and simple-hearted. Zheng would bring him some tea, and works hard even through pain and exhaustion. He was also honest and took accountability, so the master thinks he was a good disciple. Until the sword passed through the chair. As the master was stabbed right at the center of his chest, he asked why Zheng would do that. Zheng replied that he was never one of them. He revealed that he was born into the Ying clan, changed his name, and hid there for 6 years just to learn their family's iron wall blade technique. Now that he had mastered it, it was natural for him to annihilate the entire clan. The master threatened him that even if he stabbed him, the others were in the courtyard, and they wouldn't let him go unscathed. Someone grabbed on the door. It was Qianjing. She tried her best to walk towards her dad, even when she was injured in the chest. But it didn't last long. He trembled when he saw his daughter die in front of him. He got furious. The beast actually poisoned his family. Zheng replied that the Ying clan had always followed the principle of learn a move, destroy a clan. He finds it a pity that his youngest daughter isn't home yet from school. He was optimistic about her talent, but, as if on cue, she announced that she was back. The master begged him to spare his little daughter. Zheng told him not to worry, since Qianhui's spiritual root was of high quality. He planned to erase her memories and adopt her as his daughter. But he won't let the master keep waiting too long. Once Qianhui entered university, he planned to seize her spiritual root and reunite the real father and daughter. By the time he finished talking, the master was already gone. Anjung greeted Qianhui at the entrance. He told her that he got bored waiting, so he killed her family to pass time. She dropped her bag and vowed to kill him. She threw knives at him, but he just stood there. Then he blocked those knives using his sword. He identified that she used the omnidirectional flying dagger techniques. It specialized in hitting the blind spot, and Qianhui was the best at it in their clan. But to him, who had already mastered the iron wall blade technique, it was completely useless. A dagger hit the roof, and one of the daggers was an inch away from Zheng's eyes. But then he grabbed her by the neck, and then shoved her down with such power that she lost consciousness. Then he activated the heart-bewitching curse, and from then on she became his daughter and was named as Ryugasaki Hanako. He planned to bring him to the Ying clan and train her well until the day comes. When she woke up, she called him father. Then Zheng started a fire and burned the whole house. They left after that. At the present time, Hanako watched the whole building burn. She stood there in daze. Then she felt this resentment and anger towards Zheng. Hei reminded her that she can't interfere, but she was already gone. She wields her sword to kill him, but when her sword made contact, it shattered. Zheng, who was walking away, sensed it a little. The young Hanako asked her father what was wrong, but he replied it was nothing. He just thought someone was approaching. Then they continued to walk away. Once they got back, he would arrange someone to teach her the Eastern tongue. The present Hanako trembled. She sobbed loudly. She felt betrayed by the person she was calling father. The system notified Hei that the scene had changed. The realm of past reflections had changed to an interactive, tangible scene. They were instructed to find the key item, Cloud Ruin Guide. Hei paid attention to the notification. After that, they walked into the burnt house to see what they could find. She can take it back as a memento. Her divine sense detected something there, but it was buried very deep. Hei helped her dig it out. He used the golem hand and had retrieved the items. She saw his blade, but he replied that it wasn't, because it was truly hers. He gave it to her. She couldn't understand why. He explained that it was left behind by her father, and it guided her to rediscover herself, so it was always meant to be hers. He also gave her the blade manual left by her father. The blade manual was specifically designed to counter the iron wall blade technique. Hei asked her what was wrong. She told him how it was extremely difficult to cultivate. It could take decades to even reach the first layer. But she couldn't wait that long. Even if she could, Ryugasaki Shoichi would quickly realize that she's no longer the same person. But Hei told her that she no longer had to wait. She asked what he meant when suddenly he placed 2 fingers on her forehead and let his energy flow. Then the moves and mental incantations were poured into her mind. Breaking blade technique had been advanced paid to her. Then the system informed her that the repayment for the breaking blade technique would be completed by her. During that process, 30% of cultivation experience and merit points she gains would be paid to Hei as interest. She asked what that was. Hei explained that it was the system panel. She'll only see it after she accepts his advance payment. If she doesn't accept, she'll still have to pay him interest, but the advance payment could also be withdrawn. Without hesitation, she fell on her knees and bowed at him. He accepted her as his disciple and told her to get up quickly. He also told her that she just became his disciple. He doesn't have many good things to give her, so he told her he will give her a set of magical robes in a bit. With that, the post-payment mission for the Cloud Ruin Guide was completed. Qianhui watched as the sun rose, and then she checked the mark on her hand. Hei explained to her earlier that with the blood curse, they had become master and disciple linked by a single health bar. From then on, any damage she would take will be endured by him, her master. He also reminded her that the blade has a boiling blood effect. The more damage she takes, the stronger her attack power becomes. Someone asked her why she was in a daze. Kaku told her that their father was talking to her. Shoichi told them that even though Hanako exposed a flaw in her personality during the exam, it was a good thing she saw the error of her ways, killed the people who were in the way, and even brought him a treasured blade. Shoichi was glad that his years of nurturing her wasn't in vain. She became confrontational. She told him that there's something that she doesn't understand, and she wanted to ask him about it. Kaku called her out for not using honorifics. Then she asked them if their deeds deserve some honorable titles. Shoichi glared at her and asked what she meant. He asked her if she doubted whether the way he had acted over the years was righteous. She replied that he talked about righteousness like benevolence, proprietary, wisdom, sincerity, but then he secretly does things like robbery, looting, murder, arson, and annihilating an entire clan. Kaku got mad at her. He defended that everything that their father had done was for the sect. She tied her hair in a bun as she replied that they knew small etiquette but had no great righteousness. That they were meticulous in small details, but they lack great virtue. She used a moon crescent headpiece to hold her bun. Also, this was a high-grade item that can reduce the spiritual energy she consumes when activating spells. She continued to tell them how they care about minor matters, but disregard honor and shame. And they fear authority, but don't cherish kindness. She removed her clothing and revealed a horse-face magical skirt. It increases the power of spiritual energy activated moves by 30%. Plus, the outfit automatically repairs itself by absorbing spiritual energy. Shoichi noticed the condensed energy in her hand. He immediately took out some swords and grabbed one of them. Qianhui uttered how the weak will be subservient and the strong had become bandits. Kaku couldn't take it anymore and attacked her. But before his attack could land, she already kicked him in the face and threw him outside. Shoichi realized that she had figured something out. He was done pretending too. He called his clan to gather. Everyone came as fast as they could, and they faced her. He ordered them to capture her. They attacked her all at the same time. A bald man attacked Qianhui using a sword. She blocked it with the sheath of her sword, and then she kicked him on the head. Another one attacked her, and he sliced him in half. While she was on the move, some shuriken was thrown at her. She threw her sword towards the attacker, and it pierced his neck. The attacker fell while the others were surprised. They surrounded her when she jumped right in to grab her sword. They attacked simultaneously, and she blocked it using her sword. They kept the pressure on her to skewer her eventually. So while they tried to press their swords, another person tried to stab her from the side. She saw it and activated an instant wall lightning flash. The attackers were all hit at the same time. She surges through the roof. One attacker looked for her. The man under the hole on the roof was cut by her in an instant. While she was crouched down, another man took the opportunity to hit her. She cuts his arm. Then, on the next person, she cut his head. She continued defeating them. Those men couldn't believe that they were all losing to just one girl. They tried to hold the line and not break formation. The others just watched on the sidelines. They were the wiser ones. Those idiots engaged in the fight actually thought that they could win in numbers alone, but that kid was chosen by their sect leader. Though she's from the outside and didn't inherit his martial talent, when it comes to the blade, her skills were second to none in the sect. Okawa Menta, one of the 3 swords masters of the Ying sect, knew that Qianhui won't stop until one of the 3 sword masters of the Ying sect steps in. Nagano Nakayusu, also one of the 3 sword masters of the Ying sect, agreed with him, so he asked him why he's not joining the fight and had just been watching from the sidelines the whole time. Menta wasn't an idiot. The other 2 were watching, so he's not going to jump in and be a cannon feeder. And also, his quick draw technique was all about that one perfect moment, so he had to wait for an opening. After a while, the corpses scattered. Qianhui was already exhausted. She even struggles to stand straight. Menta saw this as his chance. He drew out his sword. He charges at her. She sensed him, so she glanced behind. And in a blink of an eye, she was slashed. Blood squirted from her body. And the assailant had this wide grin, and then she was pushed powerfully. Yin sensed something. She could tell that Qianhui's aura weakened. It made her ask Hei if he has no plans on stepping in. He didn't expect her to be concerned for her safety. He thought she'd be pissed at her after all. She trapped her in that formation for a while. But it was nothing to her because she was able to get out easily. When she got out, they were gone, and for a second she thought that he ran off with the enemy. Hei revealed that he actually planned to help. He erected a barrier on the building. It was a golden light barrier, and it covered the whole area. Yin couldn't understand why his idea of helping was to trap everyone from the Ying sect. But that also trapped Qianhui in there too. He almost slipped, saying that it was fine as long as the dragon took the damage for her, but he corrected himself by saying that he'd take the damage for her. Plus, with the boost from his boiling blood effect, he had faith in Qianhui. If things go south, he'll jump in. But at the moment, he wanted to make sure that not a single one of those bastards gets away. The revenge that they wanted was to wipe them off the map. Meanwhile, Qianhui lies in the pool of her blood. Menta boasted about his one-hit kill. Suddenly he saw her stand up despite her trembling. He couldn't believe that she's still alive when he sliced her through her neck. He tried to recall the last second, and realized she blocked it at the last second. She was quite lucky. But Menta was more determined the second time. He rushed towards her. She used spirit object control. The floorboards started to shatter, and it floated in the air, and was thrown at Menta. But cheap tricks like that won't stop him. The boiling blood was in effect, and damage was at 30%. She answered him that it wasn't meant to stop him, it was just to make him draw his blade early. Then she attacked him. She was caught off guard when it was blocked. Menta informed her that even without the first move advantage of his quick draw technique, his speed was still enough to parry. She used breaking blade technique, and instantly her sword passes through the sword that was blocking her, allowing her to slash him. After that, the system processed the blade of crushing momentum post-payment mission progress. She had to use blade crushing momentum 5 times in battle. This technique consumes a large amount of spiritual energy. After a successful parry, it ignores the opponent's block to directly strike the enemy behind their weapon. At the moment, the spiritual energy was too low, so she was advised to wait for it to recover before using. The remaining swordsmaster of the Ying sect, Matsunaga Yuno, and Nagano Nakayasu, saw that the weakest among them was taken out. Nakayasu noticed Qianhui's blocking blade completely unscathed. It made him wonder how she sliced through the person behind it. Internally, Yuyo got curious how that girl's cultivation level improved so drastically. In the past, Menta's quick draw technique would have been enough to kill her several times over. He suggested that they attack together. It wasn't because he's not confident, he just thought it's better if they all share the credit for taking down the girl. Nakayasu agreed. He told him he'd cover him. He used the skill Sky Rending Slash. Qianhui bends to evade it, and while she's in that position, Yuyo charges at her. She immediately blocked his sword, but he was powerful enough to send her flying. She broke the wall and was thrown outside. Her hands were left shaking from that heavy blade. In an instant, Yuyo was attacking her again. He had this arrogant smile on his face while doing so. He was able to make her drop her weapon. She immediately used the spirit object control to grab a hold of her weapon. But before it lands on her hand, he attacks her again. Her hand with spirit object control blocked the blade, but the pressure was overwhelming her. Suddenly, she was hit on the side. She wasn't expecting that. Yuyo commented that Nakayasu was ruthless for slicing the girl in two. Nakayasu told him to finish her already. It won't be certain until he cuts off her head. Qianhui lay there bleeding. Then, Yuyo attempted to behead her, but it left him dumbfounded. He was confused on how she was standing up again, and he also saw that even her clothes were healing. He couldn't believe that a fatal wound that nearly cut her in half at the waist healed in a blink of an eye. He wondered if it was some healing art that someone in the condensation realm could master. She used spirit object control again, to get her sword back. At this point, boiling blood damage was at 80%. She approached him, and Yuyo noticed that he took a step back without meaning to. Then he attacked her. He didn't care if her healing technique was impressive. Since she can't withstand his blade anyway, once he took her head off, her healing arts would be useless. She moved her sword in response, and they clashed swords at the center. Nakayasu couldn't believe that she took a sky-rending slash to the waist and could still fight. On top of that, she can parry his blade with a single hand. He realized that she's getting stronger as she fights, so he had to finish her fast. He used multiple sky-rending slashes. This was a massive attack. Yuyo could get caught in it, so he asked him if he's trying to slice him too. Nakayasu simply told him that his sacrifice would be remembered by the sect, but he refused to be a cannon feeder. He jumped away. But she held him, and used him as a meat shield. It was gruesome. Blood was everywhere. Nakayasu watched the blood and debris fly in the explosion. Eventually, the chaos subsided, and he saw that she was gone. But he sensed her from behind and attacked at once. She bent her body to evade the slash. Her hand hit the ground, and by then, she had recovered her spiritual energy. The blade of crushing momentum became available. He blocked the sword. He acknowledges that she was pretty durable, but he was confident in his sword skills. But then, her blade cuts through his sword. He didn't expect that. He got sliced lengthwise in a blink of an eye. Post-payment progress for breaking blade technique was 5/2. Qianhui glanced behind her. A man clapped and praised her for her excellent work. This man, who claimed to be her father, was quite pleased that she had improved quickly. It was Ryugasaki Shoichi. Seeing him irritated Qianhui. Without hesitation, she attacked him while expressing that he made her sick. He blocked her sword, and then he threw a blade at her, in which she evaded by bending so low. After that, he prepared several blades floating in the air. He was proud of his wise move of learning the iron wall blade technique of her clan and then wiping them out. Now he's the only one in the world who possesses the technique. She commented that his wide grin was practically splitting his face in two, but he didn't care. With a furious expression on her face, she warned him to hold that disgusting smile because she would slice his head open along that grin, and she didn't want to mess up the cut. She moved quickly. He blocked her attack with several blades moving simultaneously. She continuously attacked, but his moving blade created a shield that protected him. The blades moved in a rapid, circular motion. And that cuts her everywhere. The automatic defensive formation barely uses any of his spiritual energy. He was confident that she couldn't scratch him no matter how hard she tried. She warned him that the harder she attacks, the more she'll get hurt. He tested on how long she could keep that up. She used a breaking blade technique and slashed his blades. Because of that, she was able to get close to him. He blocked her sword using her sword. Post-payment progress for breaking blade technique was 5/3. Just as he thought, her move could only pierce his guard once. He had been watching her for a while now, so he got her all figured out. He unleashed several blades again and directly hurt her. She laid on her pool of blood. It seemed like she was unconscious. Someone watched her through the teacup. The cat informed Divine Dragon that the new life leech on her was about to die, and then he saw her face. She was bleeding like crazy. She told him not to make a big deal out of it since it was just a little blood. The cat was shocked because blood gushed from different parts of her body. He questioned if that would be really called just a little bit. He understood that she's using that girl. But the way she's taking all that damage for her was too much, so he could tell that she's cooking something big. She replied that it was a trade secret. Back to the fight, Shoichi was shocked. Because Qian Wei was up again. She saw his reaction and reminded him to keep that wide smile. He was more determined to mince her into pieces this time. The system notified that the boiling blood was in effect. Damage was 170%. Her sword had concentrated power on it, and she charged at once. She bypassed his blades, but he still managed to move it in time and block her sword, and then he counterattacked. She swung her sword and hit him exactly on his mouth. Just as she said earlier, she cut him down right at his mouth. She used a breaking blade technique duet, and half of his head went flying while blood gushed out from his body. The post-payment mission for breaking blade technique had been completed. It was now at 5/5. She watched his body fall. A man hiding behind a pillar saw it happen. This was the son of Shoichi, Ryugasaki Kaku. He thought his father's iron wall blade technique was an absolute defense, and yet she had beaten him. He didn't dwell on it that much and ran away. He thought of himself as the sect leader now, so he planned to get out of there, get some help from the main Ying sect, and come back to butcher her. He doesn't care if she's Hanako or Qianhui or whatever her name is. He followed the saying, "Those who retreat today may live to fight again tomorrow." Unexpectedly, he stepped on a magic circle. It is an annihilation trap. A fire tornado engulfed him. Qianhui watched the whole building burn. She had finally avenged her family. The wind blew, and Hei showed up to praise her for doing great. 30% of the cultivation experience and merit points from the mission had been transferred to Hei. Qianhui's cultivation had been raised to the 9th layer of the condensation realm. Hei's cultivation was maxed out for this realm, and he could now advance pay for the golden core realm. Qianhui informed Hei that the magical robe won't auto-repair anymore. He told her that it was just because she's low on spiritual energy at the moment. He unlocked the shop for her so she could advance and pay for a new outfit for herself. She thanked him for that. She took one that had similar style and stats. But she admitted that she couldn't pay the post-payment of 500,000 yuan. He assured her that it wasn't a problem, since before she burned down the Ryugasaki estate, he had already cleaned out their valuables. He just used their legacy to cover the cost. Suddenly, Hei had goosebumps and he felt a murderous aura. It was from Yin. She was furious that he has his favorites. She was his first disciple, but she didn't get anything. To calm her down, he also set up an advance payment for her. He asked what she wanted to upgrade. Her options were level, gear, or skills. She replied that she wanted it all. The system notified that the dual feather greatsword had been upgraded. The system panel appeared on her too. It notified her that she had to complete the post-payment mission within 1 week. Upon completion, she would receive an upgrade to her cultivation experience, equipment, and skills. To begin the mission, she had to click the button to teleport to the corresponding secret realm. He couldn't believe she's leaving at once when there's a second mock exam. She doesn't see the point of that stupid test. It's nothing important to her. What only matters to her was to ascend in the end. And she doesn't care about what happens in between. And then she disappeared. Qianhui was amazed at how badass she was. He let her be since they got a school notification that they need to pick up their admission tickets for the second mock exam. The teacher asked them why they had just arrived when the other students had already got theirs a week ago. Hei replied that their brains were fried from the cram school, so they totally forgot. He asked where the exam hall was. She told him that there's a special magic seal on the ticket. He just had to channel his spiritual power into it, and it would teleport him to the exam site. He was amazed at how high-tech it was. Qingyan, the teacher, expressed that he made a name for himself in the last mock exam. He completely overshadowed all the other top students. His ranking shot straight up to first in the entire school. He replied that he just got lucky. She informed him that the exam would be among 10 schools, so the competition would be fierce, and he would run into some ruthless people who would do whatever it takes, so he had to be careful. The next day, Qianhui inquired if they would be on the same exam site. Hei had no idea because the sites were randomly assigned. He wished him to be safe and they'll see each other on the finish line. And then he left. The magic card glowed. Then he found himself in a forest. He wondered if that place was the secret realm. Giant Wood Forest. He read about it in the exam syllabus, but seeing it in person, the trees were way bigger than he ever imagined. A drone flew to him and notified him of the beginning of the exam. Somewhere in the forest, a shadow was cast over a student. It was from a hungry fifth-layer spirit guiding realm, Bear Fiend. The bear attacked him, and he responded with a punch. The bear was blasted away. It hit the ground. Meanwhile, in another place, one more bear became someone's punching bag. This student was Chibin number 6, middle school 3rd rank, Lai Junhao. The blonde cheerleaders celebrated him. He boasted that those monsters just served as his warm-up. He thought that he only lost to Hei in the first mock exam because he was careless, but he was confident that he wasn't any weaker than him. Suddenly, he felt a presence. It was from a 6th layer of the condensation realm, Glasses, Bear, Fiend. He saw the ferocious eyes and the scars all over its body. He could tell that it was a total badass that clawed its way to the top of the food chain. Its aura was just as intense as the mushroom fiend. The blondes hid behind a boulder. They were impressed that he's facing such a strong fiend. But little did they know his legs were trembling. He actually couldn't move his legs. He didn't realize that his PTSD from the previous exam was really bad. But then, the bear sensed something, and it started running away. Junhao wondered why. And there he saw our MC pass by him. The gust of him that Hei left threw his balance off. He couldn't believe that he just saw him. Hei was thrilled to chase after this cute little bear. It was like our boy was enjoying hunting these deadly bears. In the forest, there was a tree with a hole, and bloodstain was around it. Even some debris had blood on it. It was evident that there had been a fight. Junhao noticed something on the shrubs. What he saw made him pale. Behind that shrub were the corpses of several fiends. There were almost a dozen elite fiends, all at the 5th and 6th layers of the condensation realm. Hei wiped them out like they were nothing. He realized how naive he was for thinking that he could compete with him. Through mana projection, the scoreboard was displayed. Subject 2 was about to commence, so the examinees were told to prepare. At the moment, there were 100 over 72 examinees. The current rankings showed Zhang Jishi from number 1 middle school had 200 points, followed by Hei Xin of number 6 middle school, who also has 200 points. On the 3rd place was Yu Ping from the 8 middle school with 198 points. Hua Qianqian of number 6 middle school with 186 points. And on the 5th place was Modin of number 7 middle school with 180 points. Yu Ping, from the number 1 in the number 8 middle school, couldn't believe that some people actually managed to turn a freebie monster into a suicide mission. Only the top 10 from each school were allowed to take the exam. He thinks they were a disgrace to their rank. He asked a beautiful lady, Xianhui, if she would agree. She simply ignored him and jumped to a tree. He used a ground-shaking technique. Then he chased after her. He watched her during Subject 1, and he could tell that she had a ton of potential. He asked if she thought of joining his family's sect. With her talent, he wanted to take her as his disciple as soon as he got qualified. That guy was stealing her kills earlier, and now he had been following her. She's getting annoyed at him. The Subject 2 had begun. Several armor-piercing bear claws were hidden throughout the field. They were tasked to collect 10 to synthesize an armor-piercing spear, which would greatly increase their chances of defeating the boss fiend. A guy on top of the tree commented that they made things so complicated when the boss fiend was just on the mountain peak. He used wind control wind stepping technique. This guy was Modin, the #1 from #7 middle school. He was a once-in-a-generation genius from the Mo family. He could ride the wind without even being in the golden core realm. He thinks he wouldn't need some armor-piercing spear. He went to the 10th layer condensation realm, sand-rending black bear fiend. He thought that the boss would be tough, but it was just as the same realm as him. He used wind control, stone-shattering astral wind, and he engulfed the monster in a tornado. The tornado continued. It even grew stronger, to the point that it cut the top of the mountain. Yuping couldn't believe that Modun had pulled it off. Modun was confident that he would get the points for Subject 2. Suddenly, he sensed a powerful aura. He immediately fled. The bear jumped towards him. He turned pale when he saw that it was completely unharmed. He tried to block it using wind control, wind wall. But the bear blasted him away. He was falling fast. An explosion happened in the air, and it threw him toward the trees. And he crashed on the ground. He was badly injured. The bear followed him. Yuping called him an idiot for trying to brute force the problem without reading the instructions. And now he even dragged the boss down there. But fortunately, it looked like it had no intention of attacking on its own. The armor-piercing bear claws were on the boss, but they needed to kill it. The mechanics were kind of messed up. The bear showed its claws. Suddenly, Yuping remembered some of the other elite bear fiends carried what he needed. It was pretty rare, but if he started searching, he thought he might have a chance. The other bear that he found raised its arms. He saw the incoming attack. When the bear hit the tree, it left a crescent hole in it. But unexpectedly, the bear was hit right on the chest, and it fell while blood splurts out from its body. It was killed by Yuping using a water ray attack. He checked the corpse since not every elite bear fiend has an armor-piercing bear claw. Those things were pretty rare. He realized it wasn't easy since he had killed a dozen elites and had just finally gotten one. Then he saw someone jumping from the tree. He saw the claws sticking out from her side. To his surprise, the beautiful lady he was chasing earlier already got 3. He got motivated to not fall behind. He unleashed a water gun barrage. Meanwhile, at some part of the forest, Hay was on the cliff. Then he noticed someone. It was Chen Hui, and she reported to him that she had already collected 6 armor-piercing bear claws, so if he doesn't have enough, he could get some from her. He appreciated the thought, but it wasn't necessary. He activated Advance Pay, armor-piercing spear. She was in awe as he watched him. A polearm with tremendous aura materialized in his hand. In another setting, 3 water jets were fired simultaneously and hit the bear on its head, chest, and gut. When it fell, Yuping collected the claws. He was happy to have his 9th claw. He only needed 1 more. He checked the scoreboard, which showed the current collection progress. Wang Ping was first, followed by Zhang Jishi, then Hua Qianhui and He Xin weren't in a good place. Yuping realized that He, who was supposedly brute-forcing the extra-hard bonus monster, was totally washed up and the rumors were just a hype. He was determined to clear the exam this time. Suddenly, a warning that He had synthesized the armor-piercing spear came out. Yuping was surprised. Meanwhile, Qianhui was surprised that they could advance pay for that too. She was impressed with her master. He saw the guy with the wind magic from Mo's family and thought that he would come handy. He had checked, and it was open source, so there was no conflict on patents, and he could advance pay for it. And that's exactly what he did. He advanced pay for wind control, and it was confirmed by the system. The scoring for Subject 2 was based on how much damage each of the deals to the boss fiend. So, he planned that after he got the boss fiend's health bar down, Qianhui would jump in and land the finishing blow. In that way, they would both get the highest scores. She confirmed that she got it. So, when He was ready, he jumped down the cliff. The height was quite a distance, but he was able to spot the bear fiend. The bear fiend sensed him. It clapped its paws and created an attack. He could feel the gust of wind. He was almost near it. He watched it carefully and put force on his feet. He dove right into it. He shone brightly while in the air. The bear had just watched him, and when he landed near it, its body was blasted away. Our boy didn't waste a single second and immediately swung his spear, and it caused a huge explosion. At this point, the bear had no vision of the surrounding area. The spear pierced through the dust and smoke and hit the bear right into its chest. Luckily, it was able to stop it with its paws. But then, He used dark nether lightning art. Our boy used the polearm to transport the energy on the other end and electrocuted the bear. The bear fiend was shocked. It didn't end there. He used wind control. Wind treading stride. While the spear was lodged on the bear, he pushed it backwards with a great deal of speed. It was a destructive move. Yuping watched from a distance, and he was pissed that he stole his kill. Meanwhile, Modun was still unconscious. After a while, he woke up. He didn't expect himself to be knocked out. He was surprised when he saw his surroundings. It was chaotic. The bear was now being cornered by someone he just met now. Hei continued to deal more damage to the bear. He swung his spear continuously. It was so strong and fast that it looked like a tornado formed on him. It continuously cuts the bear fiend. Hei was focused on his attacks. It was so powerful that it even made a hole on a trunk of the tree behind the bear. That tree fell, and Hei was also done with his attacks. The bear was still in one piece because it shrunk itself to survive. Yuping knew it couldn't block or dodge, so it shrunk to get more mobile. He wanted to see how Hei would deal with this. If he couldn't do it, he planned to step in and claim the prize. Hei had no problem hitting the bear, despite its smaller size. He scratched its forearms when it tried to block the spear. Then the bear prepared for a counterattack, and Hei blocked its fist with the handle of his spear. It may be smaller, but its attack power was still insane. It formed condensed ki armor on its arms. It didn't use that before, so Hei thought that the skill must have been incomplete and it probably couldn't cover the entire huge body. He also notices the double layer of physical and magical defense. Now he understood why the instructions said that it greatly increases the probability of passing, but it doesn't guarantee it. He created a distance between them. The bear jumped towards him. He spinned his spear. For his turn, back thrust. The bear was startled with the incoming attack. It created a golden shield on its chest. Hei used an advanced pei to access the skill Pierce Throat, and his spear went through the bear's throat, making the blood spurt out. The bear passed through several trees. When Hei approached it, it was stuck to the side of the cliff with his spear. He had a hard time controlling the health bar to half, but with the remaining portion of the bar, it was enough for them to pass once Qianhui finishes it off. He called her to come quickly, but Modun sneaked at him. Modun planned to steal the kill. He used wind control, wind blade. Then, someone could be heard screaming. But after Modun's attack, the air cleared, and he saw that he missed. Qianhui had taken the bear to the air with her. Then she attacked it using wind control demon slash, and the split strike bear demon was eliminated. She used object control and wind control, which was unrecognizable for others. Modun was annoyed that there were so many who knew how to use wind control. He thinks that those lowly people were not worthy of using the same advanced magic techniques as the Mo family. He accused Qianhui of taking advantage of him when he had a quick nap. He thinks that the remaining health bar of the bear was supposed to be his. Qianhui mocked him by pointing out how he didn't mention how he fell asleep. It made him angry. Mo stated that, out of the many examinees, the 2 students from number 6 high school were the lowest class, with no sect background or whatsoever. He couldn't find any connection between them and any prominent figure. So, he thought that if he killed 2 cultivation notices, the examiner wouldn't even say much. Qianhui watched him speak and paid attention to the split, disgusting corner of his mouth. It reminded her of Shoichi. Without hesitation, she activated the execution line, and she rapidly got close to him. But then, Hei reminded her not to kill other examinees in the examination hall. Modun finds it funny that a low-class person wants to kill him, a genius. He used a wind control wind shield. She hit the wind shield. Modun infused that with his magic power so its defensive effect was indestructible. But Qianhui was able to break through it. It was like she teleported inside the shield. Mo knew he's fucked. His jaw dropped. He asked how she was able to get in. Qianhui simply sighed. Then she twirled her sword, and then hit him on the stomach. He started falling at a rapid pace. Then he hit the trees and crashed on the ground. Hei approached her and admitted that she scared him. He really thought that she's going to skin him, but luckily she used the blunt side of the sword. She knew that there were invigilators watching in the examination hall. Killing other examinees would cause trouble, but she was glad to have memorized the execution line. After that, the mock exam ended. The final ranking showed Hei was the top one, followed by Qianhui, then Yuping. Qianhui informed Hei that she only had 6 armor-piercing claws, so she's short of 4. Hei assured her that it's fine since he would go fight for it at once. Yuping offered some of his to them, and then he grinned widely. Hei accepted it. He asked if he really doesn't want it when it's a good material for making weapons. Yuping replied that with Hei and Qianhui dominating the scoreboard, he wouldn't need to keep the quest items. On top of that, his family wasn't short of weapon materials. He might as well give it to them. Then he invited Hei to talk outside the examination hall. Hei got creeped out and told him he's straight. The system notified him that 10 out of 10 armor-piercing bear claws were collected. Pre-request for the armor-piercing spear had been collected. After that, they met outside because Yuping saw them as rare talents. He elaborated more on that. He told them that whether it's going to college or joining society later and becoming a social animal, the ultimate goal was to join a large sect. Normally, modern sects wouldn't directly recruit high school students, but he presented them a once-in-a-century opportunity that can save 50 years of detour. He is a son of the sect leader of the body-forging sect, one of the 10 sects in their time, and he was destined to be the successor of the sect in the future, and he extended his sincere invitation to them. He straightforwardly told him that they already had a sect. That petrified him. He explained that Qianhui was his disciple, and Qianhui informed him that he is her master. He was disappointed, especially because it was such a waste of his passionate speech. He asked for the name of their sect. Qianhui was also meant to ask the name of their sect. She encouraged him to say it out loud. He sweated a bucket. Turns out, he forgot to register the sect. Upon hearing that, Qianhui's soul left her body, and Yuping bursts into laughter. He laughed so hard for a period of time. After that day, He went to the sect comprehensive office. Modun saw him through the camera screen. He had a neck and arm brace from the injuries that he had, and when he saw He, it made him so angry. He entered the building and heard people talking about how smooth the registration was. He was assigned to Gate 7. The office clerk asked him what his business was. He expressed that he wants to register a sect. The office clerks asked his name. He gave him his full name, He Xin, and it made the office clerk pale. The office clerk asked if he had any recommendation letter from a major sect. He didn't have one. Then he was asked if he had reached the Golden Core realm yet. He replied that he was just about to. But the office clerk concluded that answer as a no. Then he was asked if he had a sect leader challenge certificate. He doesn't even know what that was. It was explained to him that he had to enter the designated secret realm as a secret leader, complete the challenge, and get the sect leader challenge certificate. He insisted that the office clerk had to let him register the sect first so he can be a sect leader to do the challenge. But the office clerk was rude and firm that he had to finish the challenge first before he could register. He was furious. Even when the office clerk was firm, deep inside, he was so nervous. So he was relieved when He left. He really thought He would run amok. It was scary for him because he was a 10th layer condensation realm cultivator. Suddenly someone spoke that there's no need to be scared of a low life. It was his cousin, Modun. Modun claimed that it didn't matter if He was a 10th layer condensation realm when he still lost to him during the second mock exam. But the office clerk doubted that, seeing that Modun had this neck brace and an injured arm. It speaks on who truly almost lost. But he decided to give his cousin a thumbs up and agree with him. Then he shared that the first 2 rules alone were enough to block him, but the third one, normally, the applicant would have to pass a prelim review, get a temporary sect leader certificate, do the challenge, and come back for a final review to get the official one. But he changed the rules specifically for He to throw him out. That way, he can never start a sect. Modun was pleased with that because certainly He didn't see that coming. The whole registration office was actually his family's turf. Since He crossed him, he planned to make his life a living hell forever. That night, in He's room, He asked Qianhui what were the prerequisites for breaking through to the Golden Core realm. She explained that he had to be at the 10th layer condensation realm, which he already was. And he also needs to take a blazing flame mushroom and chill bone herb. Both were super rare herbs. He had to go to a high-level secret realm to harvest them. He searched online on which sect leader challenge locations also have the herbs so he could finish it in one shot. He found one where in it was a secret leader challenging a secret realm with records of both blazing flame mushroom and the chill bone herb. But the realm was in another sect's territory, and the only way in was to join their party. Qianhui read the requirements for joining the party. It was posted that they needed one sect leader who has already completed the challenge. Meanwhile, the members were bored of waiting. But eventually, they found one, and He arrived. Zhao Qihong, the female in the party, couldn't believe that their sect leader, Su Zheng, grabbed a student who was obviously unqualified. Yu Bing, the vice sect leader of the Qingxin sect, was just silent. They asked He if he really read the requirements of the party. Our boy just confirmed it. They showed him an official leader's sect token which was needed to join. Since he was a student, they assumed that he didn't have one. But He told them that he does. They thought he was playing with them since there was no way a high school student would be able to get one. Hay advanced the official sect token. Then he showed them the brand new fresh off the press token he got. Jen couldn't believe it. A few moments later, Jen proceeded and started making their entrance. He made a rift through the cliff. Since the cave opened, they immediately entered. Hay realized it was a hidden entrance and it needed a special incantation to open. Those realms are an important asset for a sect, so they couldn't just let anyone in. Hay was curious if it was really rare for a high school student to start his own sect. Jen replied that it was super rare lately, but before they could easily apply as long as they were in the condensation realm. He cites Ying sect as an example. Their sect leader was Rugasaki Sho, who had just hit the condensation realm when he applied, and it was approved back then. But nowadays, the competition has been insane, so they raised the barrier to entry. In principle, they won't approve of anyone below the Golden Core realm. Unless there was a recommendation letter from a major sect. That's the only way to get a special exemption, but no normal high school student would be in the Golden Core realm, so he assumed Hay must have gotten a recommendation letter from a major sect. Which means he had some serious backing. Our boy just laughed it off. Then, Chihong reminded them that they have to help her pass the sect leader challenge this time. Jen assured her that he will make her pass. Bing added that she's with 2 studs, so there was nothing to be scared of. Hai had figured that it was just a 2-man carry. Now it made sense to him that the realm only needs 3 people, but they insisted on bringing 1 more. It was like they're roping him in to become the 3rd simp. Hay had pending missions. First is the advance pay for the sect leader's token, his Golden Core realm, major sect recommendation letter, and Impermanence Ruin Fiend King Core were all at 1/0. The second mission was the advance pay for the Golden Core realm. He already has 1/10th layer condensation realm, but 1/0 on both Blazing Flame Mushroom and Chillbone Herb. The last mission was advance pay wind control. He had 1/0 comprehended mantra and 10/3 practice of wind control. Then the system notified him that the Golden Core realm had been advance paid, which means he could assign his post-payment missions to his disciple. It was perfect because Qianhui also needs to finish her wind control training. He assigned her to do that. While he was doing that, Chihong asked Jen what was the strength of the outsider. Jen saw Heo as dumb, so he doubted his strength. Jen decided to switch to an intersect mind voice. He assured them that the outsider was just cannon fodder, so he won't mess up their plan. Eventually, they reached an area with 3 paths. Chihong was confused that Bing seemed to have seen that for the first time when he was supposed to have cleared the area before. Bing told her that it was called Impermanence Ruin because it changes randomly every time they enter, so it made things unpredictable. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense to be a sect leader challenge. He pointed out that if it were that waste, then she wouldn't need 2 sect leaders like them to carry her. Then, Zhen used divine sense. It was to determine what was on those 3 paths. Zhen told Hay that he scouted it for him and assigned him to the middle path, which was easiest. He was trying to make it seem like they're doing him a favor while they take some loss. Hay simply entered the middle path, but that was part of their sinister plan. When he left, they called him gullible. Their plan always works because of idiots like him. Bing, Zhen, and Chihong took a different path. Chihong was curious on how much harder the path that Hay took compared to them. Zhen replied that the difference was night and day. Zhen even sensed a lot of auras he never encountered on the middle path. It meant that fiends aren't just dangerous, but there were a bunch of them too. He assaulted that Hay's sect leader token must have come from connections. On top of that, they judged him to have 0 combat experience. It led them to think that he hasn't gotten to a situation like that before, so he's probably pissing his pants. Meanwhile, Hay just continued walking until he sensed something. An arrow was shot at him. He swung his arm to deflect it, and then he traced where it came from. He used wind control, sky-breaking palm, and unleashed that in the direction of the attacker. It shattered the walls and revealed an evil-looking fiend. Its body was cut in half from the attack. It was a Shadowstalker Archer, 5th layer of the condensation realm, and it had been eliminated. Hay was impressed with this fiend who can turn invisible. He almost didn't see the arrow coming. But the good thing he advanced paid for the Golden Core realm. Her perception of demonic aura got way stronger. He sensed something again, and an arrow was shot. Then he released an attack towards the attacker's location. The wind was so powerful, it chopped off the fiend's body. It had become quiet, until Hay's leg was attacked. Another shadow fiend appeared. It was from the ground. It tried to cut Hay's leg, but he was able to deflect it. He wondered if it thought that he wouldn't sense it from up close. He pushed his spear into it. It wasn't able to move. He swung his spear again and turned its body into small pieces. He sensed another fiend in front, so he tried to stab it, But there was nothing, so he moved his spear from left to right. And then he twirled, so now his spear was rotating with him at the center, and then it hit those fiend. Their head was chopped off from that attack, and eventually their bodies were reduced to tiny pieces that were blown away by the air. Something targeted him from behind. So Hay twirled his spear, and it deflected those arrows. He's getting annoyed that they're coming one after another. He's getting pissed at them, since all they do is hide and shoot from the shadows. He unleashed a powerful attack that shattered the ground, and then a wind formed a small tornado, and it covered a wide area, but the shadow fiend was able to hold their ground. Even if it was a huge gale and it looked scary, they realized that it doesn't really do any damage. It made them underestimate the cultivator. But Hay did that so he could see them. They were surprised when he appeared behind them. They immediately released an arrow. Hay released another attack. He created a hand that squashed the fiend into pieces. The other fiends behind the pillar unleashed their arrows. He spinned his spear to deflect those arrows. While he was fighting, there was a creature watching him from afar. It was like a paper cut into a human. Zhen used it to spy on him. Chi Hong inquired if the idiot was still alive. Their original plan was to use him as cannon fodder to scout what types of fiends were on that path and what moves they had. In that way, they could plan their strategy before going in. But to his surprise, the kid was having an easy time. He told Bing about the change in their plans. He decided not to fight the Fiend King. Instead, he wanted to lure the Fiend King towards the idiot's path. Bing then summoned his axe weapon and immediately threw it towards something. The axe hits its target. That creature emitted flames from the 2 holes in its body. The loud sound and the commotion it caused caught Hay's attention. I bet our boy already knew that they were just toying with him.
Thank you all for watching. Please watch this next Giga Chad video, and I'll see you guys next time. Also, support the channel by joining the Summon Club membership. You can also support by just liking the video and being awesome.